right, check it, everybody. Welcome to the final house divided of this Thanksgiving Day week. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings. We're going to be with you for the next 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. We never really put a time on it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, get notifications, do all of those things that we typically ask you to do on an hourly basis. Welcome to everybody that's jumping into the Specs chat. We love you in the Specs chat. And greetings, Chad. It's our final show of the week. It's like senior skip day. I've already got one, just like Texas has 1 foot into the Big 12 championship game. Right. I've got 1 foot into not working for the next couple of days.
You're already leaning?
Yeah. So much so that I don't have my microphone in front of me.
There it is. There it is. See, you're already
a metaphor for not wanting to work. There it is.
The lean has already begun. No, I'm feeling pretty good. Last show, like you said, of the week. That's always a good feeling. Shout out to to Blake, the super producer, and the other fans of the champs. Got the first shirt in yesterday. Very excited about that. More clothes on the way. Merry championship Christmas to me. So, yeah, I'm in a good mood.
I'm kind of begrudging you for the shirt.
Is that right? Why?
I haven't yet sorted through and really had therapy on my Phillies letting the National League Championship Series get away from them and potentially doing the thing that your Rangers did. I've tried, I was kind of able to enjoy the Rangers championship a little bit because I definitely didn't want to see the Diamondbacks win a championship. Trust me, I didn't feel better in 2010 or in 2011 when the Giants and the Cardinals won the World Series. Like, hey, they beat us on the way, but seeing you in the T-shirt.
That's not good.
Well, I didn't even know that the feelings existed. I haven't consciously been sitting around begrudging the Rangers at all.
I see.
But to see you in the T-shirt is like, fuck, man, we really lost. We blew 3-2 going back home when we had been the best home team in baseball. It happened.
I know. And it's trust me, I am not trying to stick it in your face in any way.
I know. You're allowed to be happy, Chad.
It's just the 12-year, journey from complete blah to this is pretty cool. So I'm enjoying the
I was on the same journey because we did the same blah in 2010 and 20. It's the thing that Rangers and Phillies fans shared together. Was it in 2011? They both went blah. Now maybe we would view the blah a little different because you guys were in the series and it was really like the totality of 100+ wins and being the best team in baseball and then getting beaten in a short series. It just bugged me.
Yeah, one strike away twice. Like, I mean, it's a tough thing to compare. I understand. And you also had rings in your pocket. Haven't had a ring in your pocket.
Our best player tore his Achilles and it ended his career on the last pitch of the 2011 season for us. I know it's not apples to apples.
Right. Oh,
Mr. Yeah. No, one strike. But trust me, the pain from 2011 clearly 12 years later, and I didn't even know until you showed the T-shirt that I have some things I have to work through.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's good. We need to know. Sometimes we don't. We need to know like our feelings before. We didn't know we had those feelings. Like today, good example. Today in the crap bag, in addition to it being Turnover Tuesday, I have feelings I needed to process I didn't even know about. If y'all want to go back at some point and watch last night's Outsiders show, the Outsiders and Chris Bennett are the ones that let me know about this A&M post that we'll get to. So I had to process that.
You didn't know how dominating the Aggies have been against the state of Texas?
Exactly. I did not know that I had to have feelings of that sort. So we'll get to that later on at 2 o'clock. We got Scottish Guy at 2:15 in a short week and a lot of Texas stuff to get into. We're also going to grab Anwar Richardson of Orange Bloods. He will be there just like Brett Yormark. Maybe Anwar will get the exclusive interview with Brett Yormark live from the suite. as he watches Texas and Texas Tech. We'll get Anwar's thoughts on the game and the tiebreakers and the national perspective and all that good stuff. We've got that.
On senior skip day, Chad, you bring in the real reporter at 1:20 to just take care of the rest of the show.
Absolutely. That is the plan, right? Get that go. We'll do buy or sell like we do normally at 1. And then this hour, we've got some good numbers breakdown of Texas as they get ready for Tech. But also, Ketch, we will provide the Texas fans, once again, with a quick little TV guide for what they're going to need to watch, because they're looking for teams to lose on the national level, and they're going to be paying attention to, hopefully, the opponent at Jerry World being determined. So we'll give them all the games they need to look at. Just a couple quick flashcards coming up later this hour as well.
No, we're going to deliver the goods for the next couple of hours, but then we're gone.
Yes.
Gone until Friday. I'm going to go do some apparently I'm doing Pokemon cards later today.
Oh, with your daughter.
Yeah, she was in a really bad mood last night. Like, nothing can go her way. She was just in a very bad mood. So I committed to a daddy-daughter day of Pokemon cards to help raise the spirits, if you will.
So does she have a spot? Do y'all have like one place where she gets her go-to to go hit some Pokemon cards and they know her name when she walks in and stuff?
Well, there's a place called Adventure Begins in just outside of the Woodlands. It's like a comic book / baseball card / it's got a little bit of everything. Everything. It's actually a really cool place. They never had anything like this when I was a kid. I will say it's where the nerds go. Like, this is like a big Dungeons and Dragons kind of a place. Like, right. I've walked in and watched grown men do like battleground things. I don't know what's happening, but there's like big tables where wars take place and the guys.
Wow. Are you walking in on like cosplay stuff, or are we that kind of thing, or like more like
they're dressed like normal people?
But they're playing the card games and stuff like that.
They're doing the nerd stuff.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
And but like in this place, they've got, it's actually pretty cool in a nerdy way, right? It's like, sure. There goes their nerd table. But the table is really impressive. Like, I absolutely have a high amount of appreciation for like the level of care and the nerdiness. But it's still a little nerdy. But they have like tables everywhere. And the last time we went there, my daughter had a couple of Pokemon card boxes. Mm-hmm. And she opened up packs. Remember I told you? I was like,
yeah.
Oh, we'll take 2. And it was like, wait a minute. How much does that cost?
$700. What'd you say?
So she was very popular. And suddenly she's surrounded by boys who want to trade cards and look at her cards. She wants to do that today. I don't know if anybody's going to be there because it's 2 days before Thanksgiving, but it put her in a better mood.
Good.
And I'm going to be a good dad today.
That's good. And we know Texas fans will be in a way better mood if they can get by this Texas Tech game and get to Jerry World officially. They're almost there, Ketch. They've made it through landmines of different types. They made it through tied at 10 at the end of the third quarter against Wyoming. They made it through the weird game at the end with Houston. They made it through other close games. They've made it all the way to this point, to the Yormark Thanksgiving Black Friday game. And all they have to do is get rid of Tech one more time. The theater here is pretty interesting. We knew it would be, but now it's not quite the ultimate version they wanted, because they wanted undefeated, obviously. But knowing that a win gets them to Jerry World, I'm really interested to see what kind of focus the team has. What's the energy in the building on Friday night? It's not a sleepy morning catch. I think that's important for this game.
Me too.
I wouldn't have wanted this as an 11 o'clock if I'm a Texas fan. So I like that you get to simmer on it throughout the day, build up to it, prime time event, thunderstruck, and the what is the thing in the sky? What are they called? The flying
drones.
Thank you, the drones. I couldn't come up with the word.
The drone show.
The drone show, and the whole thing. Like, I'm really interested to see if Texas can match all that intensity and just give Tech one more before it's over. Because like we've said, they've said goodbye pretty definitively to the other two old Southwest Conference teams.
Look, it's not my job to be a fan. And I think you guys can watch us on the watch-alongs and you watch us do shows. Like, it's great when Texas does well. It's fun. Like, I went to UT and like but at the end of the day, there's something about Tech I want an ass kicking. And I don't know why. I've not historically had any feelings at all about Texas Tech other than the time that Derek Doris cheap shotted Anthony Hicks in 1998 and like wrecked his knee, all because Derek Doris didn't get a scholarship offer from John Makovic a couple of years before that. You can say, Ketch, you don't know what you're talking about, but I was there.
Yeah.
I was there the day that Derek Doris's dad and Derek Doris were sitting at a table at a hotel expecting to commit to Texas, only to find out that John Makovic wasn't going to offer the kid a scholarship. And 2 years later, he wrecked a dude's knee.
Yeah. Well, if you need some extra feelings about Tech, I got some extra if you want to. I can hand some out to you because I definitely would.
I've got enough. All I'm saying is, and I think, honestly, it's Twitter. I think it's Tech fans have been unusually asshole-ish in the last 12 months. They're in their feelings about – I guess it started with the whole basketball coach thing, right? Like, Texas is taking our basketball coach. They met up at a McDonald's, and, like, they got in their feelings about that.
Yeah, look how that one ended. Ugh.
Then they got into their feelings about Micah Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
As if you and I sit around, like, daydreaming about Micah Hudson every day.
Yeah.
If anything Micah Hudson related turns into a let's jump into Ketch's mentions on Twitter because I have no idea. But, like, they've just annoyed me enough that I think they need an ass kicking on Friday.
Yeah, I think it's also important, Ketch, to understand, and I think Sark hopefully can process this one for the players, but that whole thing about they're always going to give you your best and all that stuff, it's true. But in terms of the fan bases that hate Texas, and I mean really hate Texas and spend way too much time thinking about it, man, I think this group is –
they're close to the top.
I think they're top 3 for sure. And I think there might be an argument for the 2 spot at times. I mean, they are like people have always
is one.
Yes, people have always asked me, Ketch, hey, does Tech hate y'all more or the Longhorns more? And I always say, oh, they hate both, but I think it's a special kind of hatred they have for Texas.
Well, and I think this also is the residuals of A&M not having been in the Big 12 now for more than a decade.
Yeah, and it all turned, right? It all turned towards Texas.
At one point, I think it would have been A&M, mainly because they were beating A&M, and Mike Leach never really poked the Longhorn Hornets' nest a whole lot.
That's
true. For all of the snarkiness that Mike Leach could get into, it often wasn't directed towards Austin. He always had high heat for the Aggies. So I think for a long time, the Aggies were Tech's obsession. But then the Aggies left and never gave Tech a second thought. Which,
true.
I say, if a dish served cold is the best revenge, what's an uneaten dish that's just sat around for 12 years and festered and flies and maggots? That's what A&M left Texas Tech. They have turned their attentions to Texas, and it's a really weird one-sided deal. Typically, Texas doesn't say a whole lot about Tech. They're not part of this. This, I think, starts last year. Tech beats Texas. This comes after the basketball hire, of course. Mm-hmm. But when Joey McGuire says the road to the Big 12 championship comes through Lubbock, everybody kind of snickered about it. And Tech fans were like, what are you snickering at? We just beat Texas. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're still Texas Tech. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on. Do you want us to say it out loud? And Tech fans are like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I don't want to be a jerk and say it out loud, but you guys don't matter at all. Nobody thinks Texas Tech matters. They're just a school that exists and occasionally wins 8 games.
And that is why Friday night, Ketch, I'll make the argument, maybe. Now, I'm not saying that the Aggies wouldn't have made it a big deal if they won in 2011. I'm not saying that. Clearly, my people would have made it a big deal. But Ketch,
come on now, let's not be understated about it.
It would have been a lot. But I'm gonna say that if Texas Tech pulls this one off, you're gonna hear about it for a while from those people. You're going to hear about it.
Rightfully so, man.
Right. It will be one of those ultimate, you always say to the victor go the spoils. And much like the Aggie thing, I don't know what's the full run of Texas and Texas Tech. It's, it's out of whack towards Texas. We know whatever that number is, the total number won't matter to Tech. It's getting that last one. That's what Texas has to take away from them. They can't allow it to happen. You can't allow them to have scoreboard. You didn't give Baylor scoreboard. You didn't let – and Houston's would have been a little different because you hadn't played them forever in conference. But you didn't let them have it.
Can't let anybody have scoreboard, which is why this team being good this year matters.
Yeah, you didn't let A&M have the scoreboard in 2011. You didn't let these two have it this year. Last time with Texas Tech, it'd be really nice to give them and maybe we end up seeing the same kind of game we've been seeing lately, Ketch, where it's like, all right, now they just have to win the damn thing. But I'm with you. I'd like an ass whooping, and I've let it get to me because I'm paying tribute to 20 years ago Chance Mock. I got Texas scoring 43 again. I got 43-13 Texas on Friday night. I got a butt whipping.
Did you hear my prediction earlier when we did the Prize Picks recording?
I haven't heard it.
44-13.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
Look at that.
We are very slowly just morphing into one human being.
We really are. Like this. What happens with the women when the cycles link up? Like we are linking up as one person. What is our football cycles have linked up? That's crazy.
It has happened. So look, guys, a lot about this game that we're going to get into today. We oddly get to have a Tuesday show and a Thursday, Friday show all rolled into one today. Don't know if that means it's going to be better than the normal shows, but we have the flexibility of kind of doing all of the things that we would normally do on multiple days at our disposal, except we don't think we've got Brian Jones today, but we do have Anwar Richardson.
Yep.
So it's like no last number 60, but the only former NFL Hall of Fame voter / NFL beat reporter on the Texas beat. Kind of a good thing.
There you go.
Not a kiss ass, for the record.
No. He ended up asking the question that everybody is using. Did you notice that yesterday?
I said yesterday that Texas should turn that into a promo that they use into recruiting, and less than 24 hours later, the University of Texas football department turned that into a promo.
And it was not just Texas. I mean, Texas did that, and then all these different reporters with different angles. I saw people retweeting and grabbing it. And if you want to find out about culture, listen to this. Take 5 minutes. Longhorn fans, check it out. Anwar's the one that created that. And Sark did deliver a great 4 to 5 minutes, whatever that was. I thought that was the moment where he became Mac, but like a really good version, a really tight, focused version of Mac, where he's laying stuff out there. And again, I'd have dug it. Texas fans, that's your coach, and he had a great moment at that press conference. Now they just have to finish it off with a big Friday night performance. And
it's the reason why I really believe that Texas is on the verge of potentially kicking Texas Tech's ass on Friday. I've said that a bunch this year. Like I raise my hand and say, I picked Texas to kick Wyoming's ass. Yeah. I picked Texas to kick Oklahoma's ass. I picked Texas to kick Houston's ass.
Yeah, I think
picked Texas. At some point, I stopped picking ass kickings.
Yeah, then I started picking closer games.
Yes. Yeah. But here we are again. And I'm raising my hand and saying, I fully acknowledge I think I've gotten the ass kicking thing wrong every time I've gone with it this season.
Yeah.
And it is in the middle of late to November, one of the storylines of this team that in comparison to Georgia and Alabama and Oregon and a lot of the teams, maybe not Washington, but even Florida State, though, to a certain extent, these teams have made a habit in being playoff discussed teams. And oh, by the way, that happens tonight. We get the updated rankings.
That's right.
And I'm kind of curious to see. It could be that nothing changes, but maybe it does. And I'm just curious to see where the playoff committee's brain is. But Texas hasn't been thrashing teams. That's one of the only knocks against this team is that, they've got one loss. I don't think the loss is embarrassing. People point to the Oklahoma game and go, that's a bad loss. Well, they've got 2 losses. I agree. I don't think Oklahoma's anything special.
But they can end up 10-2.
Exactly.
Right? You lost to a 10-win top 15 team? That's in a rival game by 4 on a neutral? Like, it's not
exactly.
Horrible,
exactly. Right? One of the only knocks on this team is that they haven't really curb stomped teams. I've said it for the last couple of weeks. I don't think the mainstream college football fan understands the pressure in November that comes with being out in front and being a college football playoff team. The expectations that come, if you win 1 more game or 2 more games, you're in this spot that no team in for a lot of teams, it's like no team in program history has ever done it. You're this close. And it's easy to get tight. It's easy to fall into the trap of being upset. And I think one of the real kudos that I give almost all of the teams across the country that are in this spot right now is they've all been big boys this year. Forget about Georgia and Alabama for a second. Oregon, Washington, Florida State, Texas, those 4 teams out of the top 8, they haven't done this a whole lot. Whereas you can look at Michigan and Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama, and it feels like annually, certainly, Michigan just lately, but lately counts. They've done this before. I'm really impressed that the other 4 teams, including Texas, haven't done the thing that historically seems to happen every year, that weird Thursday night game, or you go on the road on a Saturday against some mid-team, but they come up with a performance for the ages while your starting quarterback throws, uncharacteristically 4 interceptions. We haven't seen that happen yet. Now look, Apple Cups this weekend. That blood feud in Oregon is this weekend. Mm-hmm. So there's still opportunities for Florida and Florida State happen this weekend. And, we're going to talk about some of these games later in the show. I don't know what to think of a couple of these games, but as it relates to Texas, they're in this group that's like very maturely handled their business, not been upset by any team that's kind of beneath them. But this is another one of these games that you kind of have to mature your way, be a grown-up about it. I thought Sark yesterday, in being the best version of himself on a couple of different fronts, I thought exuded confidence but focus. He thinks this is who they're built to be. He's really proud of their culture and kind of the steps that they've taken. But he also says, we got to win on Friday. We don't want to leave it to chance. We don't want to leave it to Saturday night rooting for somebody to get beaten and then it doesn't happen. As he noted yesterday, we did that. We did that last year. We beat Baylor.
Yep.
We go to the Saturday and all we need to get in is for somebody to be upset. Don't want to do that this year. I think he's got the exact right attitude as the head coach. I do think that will permeate down to his team. And I just have a feeling that Texas is going to deliver a really good performance. I mentioned when recording the Prize Pick show earlier today, Chad, this kind of reminds me of 2009, where the season was a little bit of a sludge. Mm-hmm. Texas kept winning games, but a lot of them were tight. Sometimes it felt like it was never good enough. But then they got to the final game before the Big 12 championship game, and they played A&M. And I think that was a 49-9 game.
That was Colt Runs Wild. What that
it was. And I think that's what I think we might see on Friday night.
That's a little for Texas. Yeah.
Is a little bit of like a release of the hard parts over with. Let's go have fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're going to see that on Friday night.
And 09 would have been in College Station, right? Odd games were in College Station during that run. I would, if I'm not right.
No, you're right, because the 05 game was in A&M too.
Yeah, that's I'd forgotten that one was in College Station. You're right though. If they could do that kind of thing to Tech, that would be big. Shout out to over 300 folks in the Specs chat right now. We're going to get into some more Texas talk, specifically talk a little Quinn Ewers coming up, and again a little TV guide for you if you're a Texas fan. There's one little element of Friday we have not really talked about this week, but we will get into that when we start talking about the games. Real quick, let's catch everybody up on Mojo Insurance. These 2 days we have shows this week. We are giving thanks to our great sponsors around here, including Mojo.
By the way, 49-9, it was 2008.
So that's an awesome.
49-39 was 2009.
Okay, see, I'm glad you looked it up, because in my mind, Colt running around was in Austin. So, okay, that's good.
Well, he scored 49 points in both games, so I think he ran around a lot.
Right, but I'm saying the one where he particularly went crazy running, that was in the Austin game.
Yes.
Right, yeah, okay, gotcha.
As it relates to Mojo Insurance, it's real simple. Do you want to save some cash? It's the holidays. I'm going to go spend some money on Pokemon cards later. If, I went to Mojo Insurance, scanned that little QR code right there, filled out a form that takes about 30 seconds to fill out, they might just pay for the Pokemon cards themselves with the money they can save me potentially in my insurance. And it's just a matter of finding out. Look, if you've got great insurance and you love it and you're happy with how you pay for it, cool. But don't you want to know? I mean, don't you just want to know this is the best deal I can get? They shop with over 50 A-rated carriers. So it's not like if you have Progressive and you're happy with Progressive, they're going to come back with like Benny's Bunk Insurance Company as a replacement. No, they're only going to look for the top line stuff. And if they can save you money, they will, or they're at least going to give you the option. Ultimately, once you fill out the form, they do the work. They get back to you. They tell you, yes, we can save you some money. Here's how it would go. And then you make a decision. They do all the work. They find out for you. And it's, the easiest thing you can do this year to save some money. I demand you scan that QR code. Go to mojoinsurance.agency right now. They got a special form that's just for Orange Bloods members, that both on the YouTube side, Orange Bloods Live, and the website, that you can fill out. It just takes a little bit of time, and then boom, they'll find out for you. It's that easy. Save some money today with Mojo Insurance.
All right, Ketch, as we get ready for Texas and Texas Tech, obviously the quarterback position is a big deal, and Quinn Ewers is trying to do something that just hadn't been done in a while, and that's take a Texas team to a championship game and try to get a win. I guess Sam in 18 would have been the last time that would have happened. But I know we're going to dig into a little bit of Quinn Ewers here, because now he's back off the injury. He's had a pretty good 2023, and we'll see if it leads to a 2024 or not. But give me your thoughts on 3 as we head into this game.
Real quick, just to get it off the list.
Oh, there we go.
And Blake, I hate it when you send me those messages in the middle of us talking. Just so happy early Thanksgiving from Alabama, gents. Thank you, Corey. I would love to see Texas in Jerry World in the first seat. Y'all have been my main show every week. Love to hear that. Hook 'em. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Happy
Appreciate
Thanksgiving to you.
Hope
Alabama you get the big piece of the turkey.
Yeah, hope Alabama weather is treating you well. It's not too crazy there right now. They got a big game coming up this weekend as well. We'll get to that.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out to me about Quinn's performance against Iowa State on Saturday was just kind of how rock solid it's been. And one of the things that I did for my 10 thoughts on the weekend on Sunday night, and so technically I did this on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. I was like, I'm just curious, what's Quinn's performance game by game kind of look like? And Blake, if you can put that up on the screen, poof, there we go. These are his game ratings. So his season rating this year is like 161, 162. No, go back to the other one.
Do you want the game ratings or the passing efficiency? Yeah,
they're the same thing. I just called them two different things on the thing. If you look at this year, you can see that Iowa State game is right there in the middle, and it's like 161.2. That's basically his season rating. He's like a 161, 162 guy this year. I think what's really interesting, though, is how there have been almost no peaks and valleys with Quinn Ewers this year. You know, he has a 188.6 against Baylor, and consequently, that's one of the real butt kickings that we acknowledge that Texas has delivered this year.
Yep.
Then you look at the rest of the game, and it's 169, 166, 163, 161, 160. He's got a couple of games in the 150s, and he's had one sub 150 game all year, and that was against Wyoming.
Right. And it would be fair to point out, I guess, that it's TCU that'd be coming off the injury. Is that right? Do I have that one correct? That was the game where he was coming back? Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And also a road game, which I'm going to go to this other full screen graphic here in a second. One of the things, though, that kind of stands out when you look at these is that 3 of his best performances this year, actually 4 out of the best 5 performances this year, true road games at Baylor, at Alabama, at Houston, at Iowa State. So, and some of these are so close that we're quibbling when we say best performances. But when we talk about highest rated passing efficiency nights, he's been really consistent. What you get from Quinn Ewers this season, you get from Saturday to Saturday. He's not been a guy swinging all over the place. Blake, let's go to the other graphic that I made. This is last year's. And the reason why I wanted to point it out,
wow,
is look how all over the place it is.
Good grief. Look at the bottom 2. That's crazy.
And not only look at the bottom 2, look at the bottom 4, where it's road game against Kansas State, road game against Kansas, road game against Oklahoma State, and then obviously the TCU game. Yeah. If you look at 1 through 6, there's no road games. There is the neutral site game against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But this year he's been at his best on the road.
And isn't it correct, Ketch, that the Kansas and Kansas State games last year were wins, correct? That's what started the road streak.
Yes.
That's crazy that those lower ratings for him actually ended up in victories.
Yeah, well, it helps when you've got, a running back pairing that's not the best in school history, but it can at least have a discussion about where they belong on the list. Quinn Ewers, put that last one back up a little bit for just a little bit longer, Blake. This year, he's got no game. He's got 1 game below 150.
Yeah.
Last year, half of his games were below 150. And all of his road games were below 150. So when we talk about the improvement that Quinn Ewers has made from freshman year to this season, and you can take it down now, Blake, I think not enough credit has been given to Quinn for how much better he's been on the road this year. They're out of true road games the rest of the way through. But when I picked 9-3 this year instead of 10-1 or 11-1, I picked it in part because road games are tricky. And Quinn Ewers had been kind of a mess in road games. Like there was a big proving ground that he needed to be able to prove game in and game out that he could win those games. Nothing about what he did a year ago suggests that he would be ready to go into Tuscaloosa and win that game. So credit to Ewers for the leap of quality that he's made playing on the road. But more than anything, man, he's just been a steady hand. He hasn't been great many times this season where you're like, oh my God, Quinn Ewers, amazeballs. Like, it hasn't been that kind of season. But, Blake, put back up the first graphic where it has all of the 160s. The quarterback, if we look at a guy like Sam Ehlinger, from his sophomore year through his senior year, was basically a 153.1 kind of quarterback. He was always, it's almost staggering. I'll pull it up right now just so that I can give it to you exactly. But Sam Ehlinger in college, he never took like a big step after his freshman season. If you look at him from year to year, he was a 146.8 as a sophomore, 151.8 as a junior, 150.7 as a senior. So for so many people that were ready to stand on a hill and die for Sam Ehlinger, he's my quarterback. In every game this season, almost outside of 2, Sam's been better from a passing efficiency standpoint than Sam was at any point in his career. Quinn, just completely steady. 160, 161, 163, 166, 169. He's living in the land of very good, but boy, the valleys aren't very low. It's like he's living in Lubbock. It's flatlands. He's got the 188. He's got the 136, and everything else I would argue is all right there bunched together, but the bunch together is very good. It's better than what Sam ever did from a passing efficiency standpoint. He's better as a sophomore than Sam was as a senior by pretty considerable margins. And I don't think, for whatever Quinn hasn't done this season, we've been talking about him coming back. If you look at those numbers and see the improvements made between year 1 and year 2, and again, play on the road and just overall quality consistency, it does make me think about what could be possible next year, because he's in the world of very good right now. He doesn't have to take a huge step, I think, to be in the great category. And I think that's, if he comes back, as a lot of people are now, expecting, projecting, anything could change if he just goes nuclear in the next 2 or 3 games. But I think, generally speaking, the expectation is that he will come back. The platform for him to make the next step, I think, is obvious.
Yeah, we've been talking about the team overall making statements, and he has not made maybe the strongest statement, but I would agree with you. The clean quality of his play has been impressive to me. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks overall on the season. It doesn't feel like he puts the team in danger. I keep thinking to all these times where we've talked about him, Ketch, looking downfield, looking to take a deep shot, then he ends up checking it down. He looks for something big, ends up checking it down. I haven't heard Sark talk a lot about whether or not those are, would he go back and tell Quinn, dude, you got to pull that trigger right there. You got to make that throw. Or does he say, nice job taking what they give you. Nice job checking it down to the, before it was Brooks, now it's CJ Baxter. Just feels a lot cleaner. For example, Ketch, going into this game, Texas +4 as a team in turnovers. Texas Tech is -6. So there's a not sloppy team about to play a sloppy team, and the not sloppy team is at home. And Texas they've been clean on that regard. And Ewers has been really good. And like you said, into that very good, area at times. Now do we see another step? And most importantly, what is that argument for next year? We assume he's throwing football somewhere next year, but where is it going to be? Is he going to think to himself, I'm going to come back and take one more run and one more ride to improve? Or are we about to see something in this next 1, certainly you hope 2, maybe 3 or 4 games coming up, if everything works like Texas fans want it to? What kind of true statement could he make to say, you know what, maybe it is time to go. Maybe I'm cresting right now, and I need to go see, and maybe the NFL people start telling him, no, you're working your way up the boards. These next few weeks are so big for him.
Well, you mentioned the crest. I don't know. We've seen that yet. If we see it, it's like it is truly a double-edged sword, right? If he plays so well towards the end of these last few games that he thinks he's ready for the Big 12, or excuse me, ready for the NFL, it probably means Texas won some games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean just Texas Tech on Friday, right? It probably means you killed it in the Big 12 championship game. And then if you make it into the playoff, you killed it in at least a semifinal game in such a way that you're a national buzzword, right? Like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had the Quinn-gasm so far this year. Really. And I think, we saw some Jonathan Brooks-asms, but we haven't seen Quinn have that game where afterward it's like, oh, he might be National Player of the Week this week. So, there's a lot to look at. I just wanted to stop for a guy who's been as closely monitored since his sophomore year in high school. I haven't heard a whole lot of attaboy Quinn. This is specifically how you've improved, and here's why it's important. And I thought, considering he's the quarterback of the team, it might be a good idea to paint the picture of exactly what Texas has in Quinn Ewers this season and what it might get if they get him back again. I would argue it's so late in this sophomore season that if he blows up against Tech, I mean only from an NFL standpoint. I don't mean it won't matter in the context of his season. Kind of the same thing about the Big 12 championship game. There's a huge Big 12 championship game. I don't know that means he's suddenly going up. I don't know. It's not like all of a sudden I think, well, he's going to be drafted ahead of Bo Nix. Like, I don't know that I think if it happened in a playoff game. And look, if Texas makes the playoffs, they'll probably be the 4 seed, which means maybe he just ripped it up against Georgia. Like, that's the wild card, right? You get into a playoff game, you throw 4 touchdowns against Georgia, and you know what? It might be right to say the crest will never be as high as beating Georgia on a neutral, or not even beating Georgia, but just going nuclear in a way that very similar. Remember when Baker Mayfield had that playoff game and it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it was like, he doesn't have to do anything else at that level. He just did it. That's what it would take for me to think that Ewers would second guess himself about coming back.
Yeah, and as you were saying it, there was another name in my head, C.J. Stroud. That's what he did, right? Incredible performance against that team. Don't need to beat them. You don't even need to beat them to do it. But the performance against that defense that looks pretty good can change some things. We got super chats that are piling up. We appreciate you for doing that. Real quick, before we get to the super chats, let's make sure Corey is straight here. Corey says, adios, Arch, if Quinn comes back. No, Corey. No. Absolutely no indication that is true. I will handle this so Ketch's blood pressure doesn't go up. No. Okay.
Was it Blake that did that? We have multiple Blakes, but it was one of our Blakes that posted that. Guys, you know what? You did it. I'll shut up.
There we go. Okay. So this is from Juju, Super Chat 199. Get you got out the chat, Blake.
I'll answer this. There was a troll chatter who was just posting a whole bunch of emojis that people were complaining about.
Got that done? Okay.
And
Don't
the next
you
super
dare
chat,
post emojis, people, in the chat.
1 or 2 emojis is fine, but when you post like 10 in a row, it really crowds the chat.
Gotcha.
Don't you dare. Don't fucking do that.
And then maybe y'all can help me. What is a super sticker? What is that? $2.99? Baby lemon?
It's an emoji, basically. It's like a little.
Okay.
Our software just describes it, but it's a picture for the folks on YouTube.
So you can pay to just send an emoji to us in a chat, but it describes it for us. Baby lemon with pom-poms in his hands cheerleading. All right. There you go.
If someone wants to pay money to do it, I don't know why we wouldn't just let them keep giving us money. You can only do the emojis with the pom-poms for money.
Yeah, apparently.
By the way, it wasn't that guy that I was about to ban from the chat. It was Big Daddy, who was like, Quinn only throws 2 to 5 yard pass attempts. It's like, don't show up in here 2 days before Thanksgiving with your stupid smack talk. Like, just go. You ain't got to go home, but get the hell on out of here. But I think that got handled. By the way, see, he understands. Hold on. For some reason, here we go. Okay, bet.
There it is. There it is.
He understands it. Yes. Here we go.
There it is. Also, Lemon character waving his arm to say hello with his mouth open.
For $2.99. Like,
thank you.
Let's ride that wave. Yes, Sandman is correct. Let's just
there it is. Money. All right, here's some more
bills. That's all I'm saying.
Here's some more from Oscar from over at the 40. Super chat $9.99. I'm behind. So sorry if you moved on already, but my gosh, I could never understand how people ogled over Sam. Never was he elite at anything on the field. Anyways, good afternoon, y'all. Hook 'em. Jeez, Oscar, what do you do? You're over at the 40 acres and you're just taking a weird like shot at Sam Ehlinger, huh?
No, I think it's easy to understand why people ogled instead of oogled. Is there a best way to say that?
I've always been ogled. I've always said ogle or ogling over. Is that not it?
What is oogled?
Oogled?
Which doesn't mean I'm correct. It just means
I've heard all three. I've always been more of an ogle guy. Oh, you're ogling over something.
Oscar's right there with you. He's an ogled guy.
Yeah.
I think hold on.
Yeah.
This was just making me laugh because of the description.
Shiba dog gifting a large bone. Bowing respectfully.
I almost feel like moving forward. Oh my God, that's my daughter. Stop spending money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a little count. I don't know. That works. Welcome in.
Hey, that's my daughter? Wait a minute. What?
I'm glad you didn't go on like a tirade at that chatter, like yell and scream.
You guys have been wanting to ban my daughter.
That is so great that your gut told you to ban the chatter, and it turned out to be your daughter.
I almost wonder if that's actually my daughter, or if daughter Haven.
Well, here we go.
How do I know it's you?
Code words.
I need a code word or something.
How would he know? Tell him.
Because what if this is somebody pretending to be Haven, and then my daughter is out there, and Sandman wants me to fire my daughter.
Super sticker, $5. Pair character lying on the side, raising his arm while saying, "How's it going?" Oh my God. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I tell you what, why? There you go. Yes. It's getting a little crazy. While you're waiting for your verification, let me give a little thanks to McCulla Heating and Air Conditioning. That time of year, things are chilly. It's in the 50s where I am today. Winter is coming for you GOT fans. You know you're going to need a good heater. You're going to need the air conditioner. They both got to be ready to go this time of year for $39. McCulla can make sure you are running at optimal levels. They will not sell you something you don't need. There will be no hidden fees. So get them out to the house to check your stuff out, just like we did. They're the ones that put our new unit in. They'll make sure if you got an old unit at the house, we understand. They'll make sure it runs as long as it can. They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you what you're dealing with. They've been doing this since 1977. All right. It's the year I turned 3. That's the year Elvis died. That's how long ago it's been since McCulla Heating and Air Conditioning fired up. And there's your QR code. They are Austin. They are HVAC. They're also the sponsor of the Scottish Guy coming up at 2:15. Shout out for that. 518-0119 or go to coolmenow.com. I know it's not something you always want to think about, but if you're in charge of the maintenance around the house, double check that air conditioner and heater with McCulla Heating and Air Conditioning. All right. Jeff Ketchum trying to get verification on whether or not his daughter was in the chat earlier. We'll get his thoughts on that. We've got Anwar Richardson coming up at 1:20 from Orange Bloods, of course. He'll be there for Texas and Texas Tech. We'll get his thoughts on that and other things. All right, Ketch, do we have confirmation on if it was actually your daughter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it was.
The amount of giggles that were elicited when the moment we made eye contact was confirmation.
Okay.
That my 9-year-old has been in the chat making South End Zone Queen frustrated enough to ban her.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just Bo Edge's son that's in the chat. Now your daughter is in the chat wreaking havoc. Now things have gotten out of control at Orange Bloods Live. It can happen.
She also claims that she was spending her money and not my money. And yet my 9-year-old doesn't have a credit card that would be connected to YouTube that would allow her to spend money. So I just nodded. I tickled her a little bit, to let her know that, like, I mean business.
Yeah.
Tickle claw comes out.
Yeah, right.
By the way, today's Tickle Tuesday in the Ketchum household. And
is that right?
Oh, yeah. On Tickle Tuesday, you got to be on your guard at all times.
Oh, my God. Okay, wait. Somebody's asking a really important question. $2 super chat. Blake says, did your daughter at least give you a like? Did she smash the like button? That's the most important question. Can we find out?
I doubt it.
Probably.
I think this, in a weird way, is very telling for Opinion Sports Show.
I thought it was the Opinion Sports Show burner account. That's well done. Well done, Queen.
Except, it was a 9-year-old. So Opinion Sports, just so you know, people were confusing you with a 9-year-old girl.
That's
on,
solid.
I'm
That is so solid. All right. Well done. Well done to Haven the Chatter and all you in the super chat today, or in the super chats, the regular chats, over 370 in the Specs chat. All right, Ketch, are you ready to take a look at a little TV guide? You want to take a look at a TV guide for Longhorn fans?
I guess, man. I'm so off my game right now.
Well, here's where the chronology is important. When kick times happen is important. Here's an element we haven't talked about today. As we throw this up, Blake, you can go ahead and throw up the schedule. Ketch, by my math and argument, Texas could clinch the Big 12 title game before they kick. Look at the Friday games. TCU, Oklahoma. If TCU beats OU, then Texas could do no worse than a tiebreaker with Oklahoma State and K-State. Texas could kick that game off. We could start the watch along knowing that Texas is at Jerry World. Does that logic stand for you?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No doubt.
Okay.
Again, I'll remind you that whether it was correct or not, the Longhorn Network said that Texas gets in with 4 different outcomes. One of them is a Texas win does it, but Oklahoma or Oklahoma State losing or Kansas State winning gets them in as an isolated instance. It doesn't need to be a combination of any of those. So yes, by 3:00 on Friday, there's a world out there where Texas is already in.
And then you got to kind of refocus. If you're Texas, do they tell the players? Do they not? And you're assuming they would find out. So that's something to look for on Friday. Obviously, you root for TCU in that first game there because OU winning is never a good thing. And then the night game, Ketch, is one of the big ones. That's your maybe your last Civil War ever in college football. Texas fans needing Oregon State to step up at Outson and give Oregon another loss. So that's on Big Fox. We'll be paying attention to that one during the watch along. And then as you move through this graphic to the middle, the Saturday day games, of course, you got Ohio State and Michigan, Bama, Auburn, just to let you know, in case Auburn starts to do something weird. But that middle game right there with Oklahoma State, Ketch, that could be important for Texas fans. If it's the basic version is Texas handles their business, that's the game that could determine it the easiest. Oklahoma State wins, they're in. If not, and Oklahoma's already won by then, Texas fans would know it's Oklahoma. And then, of course, you got the afternoon game on Saturday. You need Washington to lose, Texas fans. If you're going to have a spot, possibly in a playoff, Washington needs to lose, or go to the Saturday evening. Florida State needs to lose. They're in Gainesville. You're rooting for the Gators on ESPN Saturday evening, backup quarterback for Florida State. And then just because we threw in the Georgia game, since they're the best team in the country, and that last game, Ketch in the bottom right, may not matter at all. By the time it kicks off Saturday at 7.
Let's hope it doesn't matter.
Right. Let's hope that does not matter. The only reason, here's what we hope. We would hope it matters for Texas in this regard. Texas wins, and then both Bedlam teams just puke on their shoes, and Kansas State is staring at it going, oh, okay. And then if K-State wins, then at that point they would get in without having to deal with a tiebreaker, because they don't want to get into a tiebreaker with Oklahoma State because they lost. And Oklahoma State would have beaten them and OU. So K-State would have to win that game. That's the only reason it would matter, you hope, if you're a Texas fan, in just determining your opponent. But they're the games you're going to be paying attention to, both nationally and Big 12-wise. Easiest thing, obviously, is Texas wins. They go to Jerry World as the 1 seed. They win, pack your burnt orange jerseys, and head to Jerry World, and you don't have to worry about you'll just have to worry about who your opponent is at that point.
Seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
You sit back, watch Saturday with an eye on scouting, right?
Yeah, you know you're in.
Because you haven't seen Oklahoma State. I mean, maybe you've watched some Oklahoma State this year, but, how much Oklahoma State have you watched, Chad?
Let's see. Man, combined, I'm going to say, if I added it all up, maybe a total game to a game and a half. If I really put it all together, like I feel like I'm watching a little bit of them, but then the game kind of gets out of whack, or there's a more important game I'm watching at the time. And also, I'll be honest, because they're not on Texas's schedule, you and I know how that works. Yeah. You're always looking ahead, right? Okay, what's Texas' next 2 opponents? Oh, they're going to play each other. Like when Tech played, was it Tech and TCU? When Tech played TCU, well, I'm going to peek into that one because of the future opponent. I haven't been paying attention to Oklahoma State as much. I'll try to catch them here and there. But, yeah, so probably about that. How about you? You feel like you've watched a few games?
I mean, I watched Bedlam.
I did too. That'd be the whole game. I watched Bedlam and some other stuff like
exactly.
Together.
I watched Bedlam, and I'm looking at the full schedule, and I don't remember going out of my way. Well, look, you got to eliminate the ESPN Plus games. So I know I didn't watch Central Arkansas or South Alabama.
Definitely. Especially once they're losing that South Alabama game by so much, there's not even a reason to go find it.
I think I watched a little bit of the Iowa State game. So, yeah, maybe like 2 games worth. But you get a chance to watch them on Saturday with something to play for. So there you go, a little advanced scouting. I think Oklahoma TCU might actually be a good game because I don't trust Oklahoma to blow anybody out anymore. They've turned into a very kind of average team. Mm-hmm. Plus, do we know what's happening with Oklahoma in the quarterback situation? Is Gabriel out?
That is a good question. I have not heard.
Jackson Arnold game, at which point, I think that game becomes even more interesting if they have to play the backup, partly because I kind of want to see what Jackson Arnold in a full game situation looks like. He didn't look like much on Saturday against BYU. So let's see. I'd like to see what that looks like. But yeah, I don't know. Let me see. I'm doing
yeah, that's an update I've not heard. So that is that first game out of the block. Friday morning, 11 a.m. as you're coming back from all your Black Friday, maybe your Black Friday shopping. OU and TCU will be getting after it.
I'm so glad the Texas game's not at 11.
Oh, you and me both, man. It's just I hopefully it helps everybody's week out. I'm really glad about that one. And on the other side of the house divided, Ketch, I'm so glad A&M is at 11. If I was going to the tailgates, I'd be pissed. But man, I'm glad A&M's playing LSU at 11 in the morning on Saturday because that's the only shot they have to make it a game.
By the way,
early kick.
The Dylan Gabriel injury was a concussion. It's a short week.
Yeah.
It's football.
You never know, right?
He shouldn't play. In general, when there's a brain injury, I know that this is something that Anwar does a really good job of. When someone has a concussion, he calls it a brain injury because concussion's a real pretty word for covering up that the brain is hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe we should treat the brain with respect, but in a short week, one less day to come back from a brain injury, I'm guessing that Dylan Gabriel plays, although it might not be he might come back for another year.
Could be.
More than the Arch Manning deal, what that does with Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma, I think would be really interesting. I don't think Jackson Arnold wants to sit around and wait, whereas Arch seems to have a ton of patience. Anyway, just thinking out loud.
All right, so a couple things here. We are over the 1 o'clock spot, which means it's about time for buy or sell. Ketch, I have some possible good news in that Brian Jones is telling me he might have a window at about 2:20. So Blake, the super producer, if you can shoot me the link, I will send Brian the link, and then it'll just be a 60 surprise. It'll be an old number 60 surprise if we see
Why
Brian.
do you need Blake to send you a link?
Because I got to send Brian the link to get in the show. What are you talking about?
Why can't you get it yourself?
Why can't what?
You can just grab the link yourself.
Okay, I don't know how to do that. So
all right, you see the Specs logo in our super chat in our what are we in? Restream.
This is really what we're doing. You're going to do
real quick. I want to show you.
You're going to teach me this live on the show.
Do you see Specs?
I see it. Yes.
Now, when you go down, you see those various little circles. One of them's your microphone and one of them's your video.
Right.
You see that little person with a plus?
Yeah.
If you click on that, it gives you a link, and you can just send that to Brian.
It gives me a link, and then I hit. Okay. All right. Well, there it is. Okay.
I'm just saying, in the future, that's all you have to do.
Okay, there you go. Jeff Ketchum just taught a man to fish. I'm going to try to see if we can get Brian Jones on the show at 2:20. We already have Anwar Richardson set up for 1:20, so that will be very good.
We really don't have to do any more work the rest of the day. Other than crap bag and buy or sell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I still have to deal with process some Aggie feelings in the crap bag, and then we'll have Scottish guy at 2:15. We got a lot going on. Hopefully. Right. On this Tuesday. All right, so buy or sell time. Do you want to go first or second today, Ketch?
I'll go second.
All right, buy or sell. Number one, Texas beats Texas Tech. I think I know this one now. And scores 40.
Buy.
Yeah.
Texas has only scored 40 once this season, which is kind of ironic because a lot of people asked me all offseason if I thought Texas would average 40 on offense for the season. They've only hit 40 once this season. I think they do it a second time against Texas Tech. It's a big old buy with a capital B.
All right. Buy or sell number two, Ketch. The Cowboys beat Washington by 10 or more.
Buy. Dallas knows how to beat the hell out of bad teams.
Yeah.
Other than Arizona. But we've seen Dallas. This might more than even the Super Bowl teams. This Cowboy team just beats the hell out of people. They're not great as a team. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but if you put them in games against some pretenders, against teams that are going to have less than the number 15 pick in the draft, 15 and down, they've been pretty monstrous this season. I think they lay it on a Washington team that doesn't have a whole lot going for it.
There you go. Link has been sent to Brian Jones. Buy or sell. Number three, today is Justin Tucker's birthday. You want to be in the stadium when the house divided gets back together.
Okay, so the question doesn't have anything to do with Justin Tucker.
other than the fact that he's the story from the last game.
For a second, I thought you were asking me if I wanted Justin Tucker to be back in the stadium. But no, you just want to know if I want to buy. Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be next year at some point. Justin Tucker, what is he today? 34, I think. Yeah, 34 for Mr. Tucker. Happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to this guy too, Ketch. Buy or sell. Troy Aikman also has a birthday today. The number 8 performance that you'd show the aliens is Super Bowl 27. A lot of good ones to pick from.
So,
okay.
I'd show them the NFC Championship game 2 weeks before Super Bowl 27.
Yeah.
I'd show the throw, the play, the Alvin Harper with the game on the line in the mud. Like, it's crazy. I wonder how the media would treat. Think about, I don't want to go into a dissertation on the NFC Championship game before Super Bowl 27, but if I remember correctly, they had to replace the field, the turf. Like,
I think you're right.
That week. Remember, that's how we learned who the Turf King was, George, whatever his name is.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
The field for that game was so bad. It looked like they were playing in a swamp. You'd go over the sidelines and there was like mud puddles everywhere. That they did what they did in that game, and that Troy was so huge against a genuinely great San Francisco 49ers team. And you know what? Hell, I might even show them I might even show the aliens. 27's an easy answer. There's nothing wrong with it, right? He's a Super Bowl MVP. You could show them that. I might even show them the NFC Championship game in '94 when they lose. But he and Irvin, once I'd show his frailties, right? Hey, he made a couple of mistakes. And then I'd show the blood and the guts and the determination and the talent to come roaring back. And he was so good in that game. And so was Michael Irvin. There's a few, but yeah, I think the NFC Championship game before 27 is what I would say.
Yeah, I also like the one where they slaughter the Packers. There's a lot of good choices. All right, and finally, Ketch, buy or sell number 5. Only 2 ranked matchups this week. You'll take Oregon and Michigan to get big home wins.
By big, they'll win. If they win, they're big. I don't know if they win big, but they will be big.
Yeah,
I'll go by. There's been no chaos this month. We're running out of chaos.
Yeah, that's why it's been a historic season for undefeated teams at this point. We had to go all the way back to like the BCS era to find a season where you have this many undefeateds this late. Everybody's just kind of handling business. Nobody's playing each other. This is the first weekend because we know we're guaranteed somebody loses with Ohio State and Michigan. But yeah, everybody's just rolling along.
By the way, Blake, I'm going to come back next week. I'm going to get all my buy or sell questions in time early. He's giving me a thumbs up and a nod because he knows, I tell myself that it's better when I just make them up on the fly. It's not true. Buy or sell number 1, and because I don't have it won't pop up on the screen for me. Yeah. You think Dylan Gabriel should be first team all Big 12 quarterback this season?
Oh, geez. Hadn't even thought about it. I'll just make everybody happy on the chat and say sell. I have no idea what my argument would be for it or against it. I'll just sell.
He's got a 171 quarterback rating for the season. Quinn's at 162, but missed a couple of games. Yeah. The next highest rated guy is Jason Bean.
Ah, Lord. All right, I guess it does have to be him. Bye.
It does, doesn't it?
Little bitty bye.
You don't feel like you should say bye to the question, but you can't outright lie either.
Yeah, right? No. If we're gonna do it that way, then yeah, I guess it's a buy.
Buy or sell. And the wording of this, you need to think about. Okay.
Okay.
Because I've been arguing about this on Orange Bloods all day long.
All right.
Buy or sell. TJ Ford, a better college basketball player than Kevin Durant.
Oh dear Lord.
Both Wooden Award winners.
Yeah. TJ Ford a better college basketball player than Kevin Durant? Whoo.
Durant, who would have had the greatest statistical season in the history of the school. But one guy went to a Final Four.
Yeah. I'll take the broad definition and then say bye.
I would say so because TJ Ford's never been a better basketball player than Kevin Durant a day in his life. But I think the best way to actually, like when you're having this discussion, someone said TJ was the more important player and Kevin was the better player.
Yeah.
And that feels exactly right because TJ was so important both to get into a Final Four, but he also felt like the player that built the program.
Yeah, and the all-around game and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a tough one though. You're right though. I mean, in terms of just what your eyeballs tell you, it's Durant, obviously.
I mean, there's never I just make it simple for everybody. There's never been a Texas basketball player ever who's been better at playing basketball than Kevin Durant, not a day in their lives. Because Kevin Durant's going to go down as one of the 15 best players that's ever played the game on planet Earth.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's fair.
All right.
That is
buy
fair.
or sell number 3. Travis Kelce better stop fumbling the ball in the red zone, or Kansas City Chiefs fans, are going to start blaming his relationship with Taylor Swift for the fumbles.
Bye. I mean, the fans are always going to look for something, and the most superficial thing sometimes ends up being the easiest thing. But yeah, bye. Well, for whatever reason, he needs to stop that mess. They needed him last night to be him, and he wasn't. And other guys weren't too. I know everybody wants to focus in on another key player, but my God, he's the best guy. He is the best weapon Mahomes has, and he let him down multiple times. So yes, he has to, because that silliness is going to start quickly if he doesn't.
But it just happened once.
No, I know. I understand that. But once you have those numbers set up where she's in the house, the numbers look like this, she's not in the house. So this is the first one back off the off week when he traveled to Argentina to go see her. It's an argument that I would, if I'm a fan and I hear one of my best players made a trip that long during the off week in the middle of an NFL season, it'd be like, all right, dude, I get it. New love, and that's cool, and that's her. You're supporting her, but like, dude, I'd like you to get a little R&R and get off your feet. Just saying.
So, were you not happy when Romo went to Cabo?
I was not.
You were really bothered by that?
Of course I was. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
It was the bye week.
Yeah, when you don't go to Cabo, just like number 8 said. Happy birthday, Troy Aikman. Troy was one of the main people that said you don't go to Cabo the week of the bye week. You don't. If you find yourself on a boat on water during the bye week, I better not find out about it. If you're on the team I'm rooting for, that's stupid. That's taking your mind off the prize. And if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I'm not going there yet. I wouldn't go there. But your guy just went to that trip, did all of that, listened to Taylor change the lyrics to the song. Then he came home and started dropping balls in the biggest game of the year to this point in the Super Bowl rematch. It's not good.
I actually think that loss is going to turn out to be really good for the Chiefs. When you've won as much as they've won, sometimes you just need to have that game where everybody looks at each other and goes, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. You know what else? You know what else it'll do, Ketch? I'll bet you there's a lot of those guys don't even know where the jugs machines are in Kansas City. They're going to find them this week. Guaranteed. I bet you Kelce's going to be on that jugs machine this week like that.
It's funny. You remember the other guy that was in Cabo with Romo, right?
Oh, God, there was a group of them. It was Romo, Witten.
Never sticks to Witten.
The offensive linemen, there was a running back. It was a group of them. It was like 5 or 6 of the morons that went to Cabo. Great leadership, 9. Well done.
You haven't held on to that grudge at all.
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Have you ever gone back and watched that loss to the Giants in the playoffs? Like occasionally it'll be on like the NFL Network.
No, the Patrick Creighton drop game, Lord no. No, haven't watched that and still haven't seen the red team celebrate in 2011 when they beat this group?
Look, we wouldn't have beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That we would not have done what the Giants did. But we were better than the Giants, and we should have went to the Super Bowl that year. That was a 13-3 team.
Yep, absolutely. Should have.
Speaking of teams, I need therapy.
Oh, yeah. Woulda, shoulda, Cabo. 2007.
All right, buy or sell number 4. Prize Picks has CJ Baxter. Let me see if I've got Prize Picks pulled up just to make sure that I've got it right. They've got our guy, CJ Baxter, listed at 98.5 rushing yards. And you'd take the more. What a jump we've made with CJ Baxter in a week.
I know. I'm going to sell. I saw it earlier, and I thought to myself, if I took it, I'd take the less. I went with the more on Mitchell and passing yards and receiving yards, but I could not take that one and go more. You know I love the mores. All about the more when it comes to Prize Picks, but I couldn't do that one. What about you? Would you go there? You think Sark's going to get him 100 yards?
I filled out a Texas 6-pick.
Yeah.
But I don't have Baxter on it. Like that one was one that the thing is, if it's really 44-13, as I'm predicting, then in the fourth quarter, you might not see a lot of the starters. And I wonder if that means he doesn't get the volume to get to 100.
Yeah, you may be right.
And I think Quinn Ewers is going to have a big game. Just throwing that out there. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. I got one more.
One more.
Don't keep me on my buy or sell question.
I'm sorry. We take a while and I lose count. I'm sorry.
And I know we got Anwar Richardson coming. He's not waiting. So we got a couple of minutes. Buy or sell number 5. Napoleon, the Ridley Scott movie with Joaquin Phoenix, is out in theaters, I think today. Buy or sell? You're kind of in.
Sell. That's not my kind of movie.
Really?
Yeah, I saw your top 10. It's interesting. Your top 10 of like, what'd you call it this week? What's it called?
Like royalty/rulers movie.
Yes. Haven't seen one of them. Not one.
Really?
Yeah, just have not seen. I love Joaquin Phoenix. He's brilliant. Just not the kind of movie I want to go pay and sit in the theater and watch an entire 2.5, because nowadays everything has to be 2.5. And I'm sure it'll be great. Ridley Scott does good work, but no.
Yeah, he did Gladiator.
Yeah, and Gladiator was great. You know how many times I've seen it all the way through? One time. And it was good enough for me. I don't need to rewatch movies like that.
Can I just offer a suggestion?
Sure.
The number 1 movie on my list is JFK.
Yeah, I've never watched it all the way through. I've seen parts.
So
actually,
bad.
You know what? I'm sorry. Correction. That's the one I have seen. My bad. JFK I've seen. The rest of them I have not.
Okay. I was going to say JFK is so batshit crazy.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Go watch that one for the looniness.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing.
Kevin Costner has one of my favorite bad Southern accents in any movie ever in JFK.
That's not great.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
The scene where he and Donald Sutherland sit on a bench, like in front of the Washington monuments, and he lays out like the conspiracy. That's like a top. I don't know how to rank it, but it's up there. It's a great scene.
It is.
But I digress because the world's best Texas reporter on the Longhorns is waiting. I don't know if anxiously is the right word. I don't know what word to use. He's waiting.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, that's not just us saying it. That is what Sark said this week when they asked him, hey, who's the best guy covering your team? He's like, I don't know. But Anwar's been asking the best questions on planet Earth lately, so I'd vote for him. This is Sark that would tell you. I think Sark believes that he's the best.
Bringing in Anwar Richardson of orangebloods.com. Anwar, they made a promo out of the answer that he gave to your question.
That Ketch, it makes me a little nervous. And I say that sarcastically because
no pressure.
As you know, Ketch, in this town of our reporters, when there was a time that people thought that I was the teacher's pet for Tom Herman. and there was reporters in this town who absolutely lost their shit, and they were demanding meetings with people behind the scenes to shut me out and shut me down because they didn't like that. So now I'm like, oh no, not again. I don't want to get people demand meetings and say, hey, make sure you stop talking to Anwar. We don't like that. That happened. A little worried.
Oh,
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
I wanted to ask, like, have you ever had a serious question? Because I can't remember ever seeing the school put out like a hype video to an answer at a press conference.
Yeah.
Can you ever remember asking because we talked about this on the show yesterday. And by the way, yes, I called you a kiss ass, but it was a total joke.
You called me. You said it was a kiss ass question, and I never heard a LOL.
It was a definite LOL.
There was no LOL. You said it's kind of a kiss ass question, and then you kept going. There was no ha ha he he.
We laughed about it. We did laugh about it.
Yeah. I didn't feel the joke. I'll be honest with you. It's not. I was like, wow. I really thought it was a good question. Well, it's the question everyone's talking about, by the way.
You think I legitimately thought it was a kiss-ass question and purposefully called it that on the show?
Yes, legitimately I do.
Well, I legitimately am telling you that wasn't the intention.
I legitimately heard your words. Like, you're like, how did you misinterpret the thing that I said out of my mouth? Because it was me. I'm like, I don't know. How did I misinterpret your words?
Blake, before we're done, can we get a video? Before the end of the interview, can we get a video?
Of the answer to the question, or you saying?
to my setup of the discussion yesterday to the question.
When was it? That was on the show yesterday?
I can't remember. Like hour number 2, maybe.
I can't take you 3 hours.
Yeah, it's probably like the first 15 minutes or so.
Okay. Anyway, it was a great question. Apologies for any ill feelings that you think I delivered on live air purposefully on the show. Have you ever asked a question in your career where a hype video / promo was made out of the answer to it? Because I thought, and we talked about this on the show yesterday, I thought yesterday was the best I've ever seen Sarkisian. And I thought your question probably highlighted that more than anything else. His answer to the culture question left me like wanting to go play football for him.
So there was first of all, I don't know if I've ever asked a question and a coach has answered for 5 minutes. So let's start there. Like, I don't know if I've ever received a 5-minute answer to a question. The answer to your question, obviously, it's no, right? And the premise of it was Sark has mentioned a lot about culture and culture wins, and after every game, he's like, it's a reflection of our culture and culture. And I just kept over week after week, I kept thinking, what are you talking about? What you say culture? What does that mean? Like, it's such a vague term. Like, you could just it can apply to anything. So, Ketch, I've heard, we've been here where coaches have been like, here's my 5 points. My culture is don't hit women, don't use drugs, right? Blah blah blah. Like, these are my 5 things. Like, as to whatever. We've heard culture as relates like P charts, right? Like, the culture is, if your urine's like this, you're a bad guy, right? So that's like that's part of your culture, right? And so I'm thinking what I thought was he had like line items, right? Line items, point 1, point 2, so on and so forth. And and when we talked on Monday, when you were on the show, Reaction Monday, remember we said like, hey, there's not a lot of things that you have to really get to in this press conference, right? Once you get past the injuries, you can pretty much ask anything. And then, no one's going to be like, why did you ask that question? No, ironically, there wasn't a Thanksgiving Day question that was asked of him, Ketch. And again, these are the times that I miss Anthony. All the jokes that we had about Ant, but now I don't know what Sark wants for Thanksgiving. I don't know what sides he wants.
Do you think you and I talked them out of asking the question?
No. We didn't get a Halloween quick candy one, and we didn't get it. We didn't get Thanksgiving, and all I know is they need to bring Ant back. I'm just saying, because we got all these other things, but the small Ant he served that purpose. Those questions that you have to ask for TV, Ant would ask them gladly. Coach, Thanksgiving right around the corner, Coach. What kind of sides are you wanting? Are you mashed potatoes and gravy, Coach? Do you like green bean casserole, Coach? Coach, just let us know what are you kind of looking for, Coach? And you're like, and it's like, oh, Anthony, he's gave us. Now I know. Sark, when L'Oreal's cooking, Sark is like, I love L'Oreal's mac and cheese, right? I don't know what the man's going to eat. And I kind of felt like I walked away. We know about culture, but do we know what he's eating on Thursday? Kind of empty feeling. So, and then I was like,
I'm disappointed, by the way. You're right.
It is like, it is that person who does it in every media group. Like when he's gone, you don't realize, damn, I missed that question, man. Because now Chris is going to come around.
Look at Chad's face, by the way. He's not buying this at all.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, Chris is going to come around.
I'm sure you missed that. I'm sure you missed that like you missed a boot on your car.
Fun of it.
I'm actually being serious. Like I really missed the Ant questions because it was the last question brevity to a press conference. Well, he doesn't have that.
Here's the thing, Anwar. Do you know why you're missing the Ant questions this year? Because this is a season built for those questions.
Yeah.
The thing about the Ant questions was you can't do it when you're losing 5 or 6 in a row. You can't do it when everybody keeps saying, it's the shittiest they've been since 1956. Hey, do you like yams? You can't do it then. When you do it is now. You do it when they're 8-1, 9-1, 10-1. Everybody's feeling good. You ask a great culture question. He gives a badass answer. Yesterday would have been the perfect time for somebody to throw in a quick, hey, Sark, when L'Oreal goes after it on Thanksgiving, what's the thing you got to have? And he'd have said, oh, I'm glad you asked. This is now my new favorite, mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Because it's now. Because it's this type of season.
I miss Ant. I don't know what decisions led to Ant not being at their station anymore, but they need him back. Their station sucks without him. Like, no doubt. I mean, the hell with what I don't even care what anyone at the station asks, to be quite honest with you. I need an Ant question, quite honest with you. But Ketch, he also, but that being said, then he went down a road that I didn't expect him to go down that deeply. I just want a definition. So, because the thing when I ask these questions, I need the whole. It's part is it's learning, and it's secondly the things that I need to learn to hold someone accountable. So then, if things don't go right, now I understand. All right, these are the issues that you face, and so that was kind of where it was. And it just so happened that he gave something that is not something out the park. I had someone from the Austin FC Academy text me today, tell me that they're playing that clip for the kids today at the academy, right? I mean, and then they run a promo on it that really was a pretty damn good promo. I ain't gonna lie, like it was really good. So yeah, I don't know, like Sark is like the questions that I've asked lately. I don't want to ask anymore. Like I want to be like Costanza and just going out on a high note. Like I just want to be like I'm done, I'm good, and everyone's happy. I just want to walk out because I feel like he's giving me such good answers to my questions. Like now, if I ask him about like red zone defense, like it's just going to be such a letdown, and there's no philosophical answers to it, and then everyone's just like, he don't really like your questions anymore.
The thing is, we're 2 for 2, but we're not that far removed from Sark. When was the last time you guys played a 4-quarter game?
Well, yeah, I know.
It comes and goes in the blink of an eye. You have to appreciate. You have to live in these moments.
Yeah, because before that, he was thankful that I asked him a Malik Murphy question. But a couple of weeks before that, he couldn't stand. I was asking him a Jeff Banks question and was like, oh, you asked me about Jeff Banks or asked me what I think? And I'm like, I asked you what you asked me about Jeff Banks. And I'm repeating myself. So we got this like back and forth. So, I mean, I don't ever know what I'm going to get from him. That's why it's funny when people are like teacher's pet. I'm like, have you seen us? Have you seen our interaction? I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe, or he could just be in a mood. Last week, you barely wanted to talk during a press conference. Yet to your point on Monday, it was like the best I've ever seen him. Literally calm, relaxed, giving thought-provoking answers. Like he was in like a real philosophical, like I smoked some road products and I was like talking about like the world and the earth and all this other kind of stuff. Like I felt like we could have asked him anything and it'd been like, yeah, man. I mean, like, yeah, the primitive man did this, and and so on and so. Like, I feel like it was good. It was good. If this is what Sark is like, 10 wins into a season, then I wish him nothing but success going forward. Like it's that Sark on Monday was the best to easiest to deal with Sark just that I've ever dealt with.
Real quick, Chad, I don't mean to jump in front of you, but I want to piggyback specifically off that answer. Why do you think he was like that? Like, do you think it's as simple as they've won 10 games and there's a certain amount of clout or they're this close to the finish line? Like, because he could have, other coaches might have shown up yesterday and because they're so close, they might have been edgy. They got a game on Friday. It's a short weeks make coaches act weird. It's like, I got one less day and today's Tuesday and I don't know what to do with myself. And he was the most comfortable in his skin that I think and he's always, I think 4 out of 5 times pretty easygoing and loose. But I thought yesterday, like I said, I think it's the best I've ever seen him look. Is there a reason why you think that was yesterday?
I mean, there was definitely comfort and ease because even when Chip asked him the transfer portal question, if Sark was in a Sark mood, he would have shut that down pretty quickly, right? I mean, he could have been like, I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about the team that we got out here. And right now, I'm not answering that question. Like, why are you asking me that? You asking me about guys going to leave? I'm worried about the guys who are here. And that would have been, I mean, we've seen him answer Chip questions like that before. So, I mean, there's there seems to be, there was just, I don't know what happened over the weekend. I don't know what happened on practice on Monday, but he just seemed to be really, really, he was right on time. He walked in feeling good and confident, and I think we're seeing a Sark. Like, I think that the Sark that we're seeing is also a Sark that hasn't had this kind of success before on his own. And he was asked about that yesterday too, right? But Ketch, you and I talked about this before the season. Like, at the end of the day, this is the most wins Sark has ever had in a regular season. He can't act like this is what I do. Like, you knew what you signed up for when you got me as your coach. Like, you knew that I'm 10-win Sark. Like, no, he entered in as known as 7-win Sark. That was his name. That was what's attached to him. So he can't, yes, Saban had that. Saban had that success, but he had it. It's easy to be Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. It's harder when you got to run the whole team by yourself. And I feel like he feels extremely comfortable, with where he's at. It has to be a sense of relief as relates to the victory. He clearly broke down the Texas Tech tape and was like, I feel pretty good about this, because if he was on pins and needles, that probably would have reflected on Monday. He had to look at that tape and like, oh, we got this team by like 20. Like, yeah, guys, what you guys want to ask about? Man, Chip, I got your answers too, man. Not a problem. I got whatever you guys want. I haven't had success in the past. Yeah, you're right. But blah, 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 blah. I'm like, he just has to feel real good about where his team is at and everything that's going on. And that also must means he's got to feel good about recruiting. He's got to feel good about what they're doing in the transfer portal. Like, whatever that would irk him before a meeting or a press conference situation, all those things are eliminated, or at least eliminated on Monday. He was great. Hopefully that continues because it sure is. It's a much easier guy to deal with. I mean, if they're going to cut promos off of questions, like that's pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, and Anwar, he must feel good about gave good injury updates. He's got to feel pretty good about that. Maybe that contributes to that confidence. Obviously, they need one win to get to Jerry World. I understand everybody believes, and I do too, that Brett Yormark doesn't want Texas to win and be in that game. But boy, it'd make it a lot easier for all his tiebreaker people if Texas would just win this damn game and get in. Give me your confidence level. Now that you saw that yesterday, you've watched this team. You saw what happened with at times they didn't get every point that they could have had in Ames, but they win by 10. The play calling looked good at times and some creative stuff there. How confident are you that they're going to finish this deal and get to Jerry World and be the 1 seed?
Very confident. I mean, at some point, the doubting has to turn to belief at some point, and there's enough in here where we're saying like you're 10-1 with one more regular season game left. This is the best regular season that Texas has had since 2009 in all the stats, the good stats compared to that 2009 season. I feel very good. Like I'm past the point, Chad, of looking at this program and thinking to myself, oh my God, I can't believe what this team might do to Texas. You know what happened 3 years ago. You know what happened 5 years ago. You know what happened 7 years ago. I remember that Longhorn PTSD that we've had for such a long time, where you just keep saying to yourself, ooh, Baylor, that's going to be tough. Oh, I remember that game a couple of years ago. It's like, nah. And there was like, TC, man, that's going to be tough. You're like, eh. And then, Iowa State at night, that's going to be a tough game. And they play 4 quarters. Like, I'm at the point where, Chad, I'm saying, like, I believe. Like, I honestly believe in it. I believe what I'm seeing. I don't love it from start to finish, to be honest with you. But, like, I've equated it like taking it, like, it's like going and driving somewhere and you're using Waze. Like, sometimes Waze will take you off the interstate and start taking you all these little back roads. You're thinking to yourself, where the hell is it taking me?
Right.
But eventually you get to your destination, right?
And it's about the same time. And
all same time. Maybe you cut off a couple of minutes or something like that. And that's where I am with Sark at this moment. I look at it, and at the end of the day, he's getting us to the destination, right? Sometimes I don't like the Savion Red package, and we've talked about that. Is he going to go for the points and not go for the points? Don't always love that. Like, there's a lot of little things you look and say, man, I don't necessarily love it. And at the end of the day, he keeps winning games, game after game after game after game. And I'm done with how it looks from first quarter to fourth quarter. I'm just looking at the results. That's it. I'm not analyzing the second quarter versus the third quarter. To start fast or just as Ketch, what do you say? Don't tell me about the birthing pains. Just show me the baby. Right? Is that the quote that you usually use?
I say that's a version of that. Yes.
Yeah. So whatever that thing is, that however you say it, that's what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at the baby. And the baby is 10-1. And as I go into this weekend, I tell myself that they're a better team than Texas Tech. And I have faith and believe that they'll go out and do what they need to do against a team that's not better than them. What is the quote, though?
I change it, like, because I don't think I ever say it correctly.
Okay.
The first time. And I'm still searching. I think I've never looked at, like, don't tell me about it's. See, I don't know. It's like, don't tell me about the pains.
The way I always have heard that one is don't tell me about the pregnancy. Just show me the baby.
Well, I've never said that.
But that's how I first heard it. It was just the word. But you can make it anything you want. You can make it pregnancy, birth pains. Don't tell me about 9 months. Just show me the baby. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I try to use.
Whatever it is, it's not very considerate, actually.
It's actually kind of a jerk thing to say.
It is.
It's like, hey, I know you got a C-section and they had to cut into you to bring that baby open, and you were probably the heart rate was decreasing and stuff. I don't really care about that. Just show me your kid.
Don't tell me about your blood pressure spiking and you being in danger of losing your life. How's the baby?
In hindsight, clearly a guy came up with that, right?
Yeah, no woman came up with that expression. It's great. That is a great question. I got to look that up. Where did that originate from? I bet it's nobody we want to be associated with.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's somewhat horrible.
Yeah, it's kind of it's just a twisted way kind of to say the ends justify the means. If you think about it, it's kind of a twisted way to do that. It doesn't matter what happens in the process, just what matters what happens at the end. Just tell me, right? Just tell me about the end. I don't want to hear about all this stuff in the middle. Just tell me about the end.
Well, and Chad, that is not a terrible segue into the question that I was going to ask Anwar, which is, I've seen this asked a couple of times this week. It's a really interesting question, I think, and it could be an easy question to answer, and maybe we won't have a great discussion on it. But is Sark in year 3, when we look at the totality of what he's done and where the program now is, has he exceeded expectations or is he meeting expectations?
That's a fantastic question. I think it's a little bit, I don't think it's as easy as it could be, right? So it's almost a combination of both, right? So he is meeting the expectation of a Texas coach, right? When you're hired to be playing these meaningful games in late November, hired to be one game away from clinching and going to the Big 12 championship, hired to be a conference champ, a playoff race rather. You're hired for that, right? And what we've seen is coaches who haven't come close to that in ever. Not since I've been here, right? And it wasn't happening before I was here either. Since 2009, really, right? So he is meeting the expectation of what you expect from a Texas coach. Therefore, for me, if the subject is, hey, what kind of extension do you give Sark after the season? My answer is not much, because he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing what he's hired to do, right? And we can't get oh my God, I can't believe that he's doing what we asked him to do, which was compete for a Big 12 title and compete for a playoff spot. It's like, give him an extra 3 years. Yes. No, you don't do that, right? You don't do that. You wait another year, get him into the SEC, see how that goes. You don't overreact. We saw what Texas did with Tom Herman, right? Tom Herman has one good year, and they're like, tack on some more years and some more money for Tom. Look at what he did. And then they were like, oh, man, we're going to have to eat those last couple of years because, we didn't expect that. So there's that. But then he is exceeding it, and I would say he's exceeding my expectations, and maybe not. I mean, I had him at a 10-2 season. But this is not like it goes back to, this is not what Sark does. This is not like you hired Saban and you said to yourself, oh, this is what you would do. Ketch, if Urban Meyer was doing this, I would say, well, of course, yeah, duh. That's what Urban Meyer should be doing. He's done it at Florida, done it at Ohio State. That's what I expect. So there is an exceeding portion of it, because it is kind of new. So I don't know if that's an easy way out. I think he's meeting the job expectations, but is he exceeding it in some ways? I think in some ways he is, because I'm not quite sure I would have been sold that. I said 10-2. So if he finishes 11-1, he would have exceeded it. For me, if he finishes 12-1, he would have exceeded it. If he goes 13-1, he would have exceeded it. So it's close, but it's actually an incredibly good question that I'm not quite sure has an easy answer. I'm curious to see what you would think if I tossed it back to you. I'm kind of curious about it on your end.
Well, let's answer it with, and Chad, I actually want your answer on this as well. I think it is an interesting conversation. If he wins the Big 12 championship this year, I think that would be meeting the expectations that were certainly applied when he was hired. I think the expectation for Steve Sarkisian the day he was hired was to take the program further than Tom Herman did. So there absolutely would have been an expectation that by year 3, that they would win a Big 12 championship. Now, that might be, I don't know whether that's fair or not, because some of that leans into what you said at the very beginning of it's Texas. So every time they hire somebody, Charlie didn't get close, but the expectation when Charlie was hired was he's going to win a Big 12 championship. So I think he would be meeting the expectations from the moment that he was hired. I think you can make a case that he's done from a total job standpoint, recruiting, his assistant coach hires, press conferences. I think you could say overall he's maybe even better than I thought he would be. But I think in general he would be meeting. But I think some of that is baked into Texas fans just have these sky-high expectations. He's exceeded my expectations for this season. But from the totality of 30,000 feet, I would say he's meeting them, which is an interesting answer because I think the first two seasons were generally viewed as pretty massive disappointments. Year one, obviously. Year two, they get stuck on 8 wins. They don't win the bowl game. They drop some games that I think they feel like they shouldn't have. I would say meeting, but the season's not over yet, and I reserve the right to change. And I also reserve the right to change my answer if they lose next Saturday against, say, Oklahoma State and don't finish the job, because I do think the expectations coming in were that he would win a Big 12 championship. Chad, what about you?
I would say, maybe meeting but not met yet. Once you see the season play out, I think winning that thing now would be meeting that standard. Because think about it. If they get there, getting there now with the way the Big 12 has played out, getting there has to happen. And then you're going to either play a team that got whipped by South Alabama, you're going to play a team that got whipped by the team that got whipped by South Alabama, or you're going to play a team you've already beaten. So the idea that they could lose that game and fans would go, yep, met the expectation. No, because it's not just any Big 12 championship. It is the last one they have a chance to win before they go where. He doesn't meet the expectation in my eyes. If I'm a Texas fan, if I'm that stereotypical Texas fan that knows what the brand is and wants all that stuff, I would say he doesn't meet the expectation now unless he holds that trophy up at Jerry World. At this point, I don't think you can just get there. Not in the way the Big 12 has played out.
What was your record prediction before the season, though?
Now, I was a 9-3 guy like Ketch was. So in terms of where the regular
that's exceeding your expectations going into the season.
Absolutely. Overall, exceed at the 10,000 foot view or whatever, it definitely exceeded my regular season expectations. Thought Bama was going to beat them. I thought Oklahoma was going to beat them, and I thought there'd be a slip somewhere else. We have not seen the slip.
So they've exceeded expectations this season, but I think the question is more general about the overallness of what he's done.
They've exceeded.
It sounds like adjusting in-season expectations. What it sounds like what's occurred. It's like, well, things have changed because you beat Alabama. You're in a season, so now all of a sudden, like the expectations have adjusted, and that's fine if it's an in-season adjustment. I was just curious if you predict 9-3 and he gets to 11-1. That still seems to me, it seems like it's exceeded all expectations you would have had going into the season. I get like, hey, if you say like, hey, I had to adjust it because now all of a sudden, like, you're here.
It's not really an adjustment because what we're saying is the day he was hired, the expectation the day he was hired was to win a Big 12 championship, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but you didn't expect that to happen this year because
right. But the question is a little more.
Oh, I had him at Jerry World. I thought the Big 12 was going to be such that a 2-loss conference team, which they still could, that a 2-loss conference team was going to get in that game. So I thought going 7-2 in the conference was still going to get him in.
But that's where the tone of the question is the totality of not just this season. It's from a job performance standpoint, taking all 3 years into account. The expectation is that by the end of the third year, not me, right? I'm talking about, generally speaking, the Texas Longhorn fan, the median Texas Longhorn fan's expectation would be that by the end of his third year, they would win a Big 12 championship. Or I think that Texas fan would say they made the wrong hire.
That's how I'm trying to look at it from that fan perspective, because once you get to this point, it's not just any Big 12 title. It's this particular Big 12 title, the way the conference has looked, and you're about to go to the SEC. So for me, Anwar, it's that fan that would tell me if they slip either this week or they slip against Oklahoma State or OU in the title game, they're going to play that card of, well, damn, if they can't get this conference title, look where they're about to go.
What though? I think that the beauty of the offseason and Ketch, I think you would agree with me on this one. Because what we're having is like slight disagreements on word. I don't think it's like a huge big deal or anything to that effect. Texas fans at the end of the year will tell themselves they went 10 wins and they saw a lot of progress. They'll tell themselves that Quinn Ewers is coming back. They'll tell themselves that they got these guys in the transfer portal. They'll tell themselves they got a good offensive line. Like, I know what expectations look like after 5-win seasons, let alone what a 10-win season will look like. If that was it, I think Texas fans in the moment would be disappointed. And I think by the time you got to the spring game and the summer, they would have been like, you know what? Why can't we run the table here in the SEC? I mean, I don't really think these guys are all that. You see Tennessee, like they lost some guys. Like, I see the regeneration every offseason of expectations. And I think maybe in the moment there may be that. And I think we'll get shouted down come next year around about spring or summertime. If we start saying, well, you know what, they really didn't meet expectation. They would say, you're so negative, Ketch. It was year 3. We had all these injured guys. We lost our starting running back. Like Quinn was playing with an injury. He was on at 80%. You're so negative, Ketch. That's why I don't like you. Like, that's where I was telling you, that's where that will go. There's no way Ketch would disagree with me on that.
I think it's interesting because if you look back to 2001, little history lesson, I suppose, but boy, I can remember partying with Cedric Benson's mom in Irving on the night of the Big 12 championship game. And then suddenly it was like, wait a minute, Texas can go to the national championship game. All they got to do is beat a Colorado team that they beat by 4 scores just a month ago. And then they lost that game in 2001. And then the reaction for Mac Brown, and that was year 4, the negativity that came out of losing that game when Texas fans thought it was their birthright to win it, it took years for Mac to be forgiven for that game. That everybody associated with that, from Sims to Mac to Greg Davis, it was like nothing that they did. No 10 wins, no bowl wins, like nothing. And then finally they get to 2004. They win a Rose Bowl and they win the national championship. And you kind of forget about 2001. I wonder, because I lived through that, Chad, and Anwar, I want your reaction to this too. If they do get, I'm just predicting, just wondering what the world looks like if they slip up next Saturday. I think we all think they're going to get there. They're going to play in the Big 12 championship. They're probably going to play Oak State. What's the reaction, and how suddenly would this season be viewed if they end up being 11-2, but losing the Big 12 champ? They'll play in a major bowl game, right? They'll probably go to the Cotton Bowl or something like that. But what would the reaction be to 11-2, make a major bowl game, but you lost in Jerry World?
Anwar, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Ketch becomes who they play in a bowl game and what does that look like. And I think if you play in a bowl game and you get to 12, then it'd be the last memory. for someone. I think the moment itself would feel like a huge loss, right? I think at that point it would feel like, damn it, man, we came so close, so on and so forth. It'll be interesting. It would be interesting, Ketch. I think one of the caveats to that would be, are there 4 undefeated teams in the CFP, right?
I was just about to say, what if
there was 4 undefeated teams in the CFP, then you could easily tell yourself, well, we would have never made it in anyway, right? And so, it would have been great to have, but we would have never made it. You get the bowl win, and you're like, all right, 12-2, it's okay. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the factors that factor in for me, Ketch. And I think a Texas fan will be able to tell themselves, hey, we went from 5 to 8 to 12. It's a hell of a lot of progress.
If Florida State loses to Louisville in the ACC championship team, and then Texas with the door wide open, presumably, then they lost it. I've been there.
Now that's ugly. That's ugly. Now that is not that. Now that ain't gonna be nice in these streets.
That'll be tough.
Tanji's gonna be dropping money in super chats every day to complain about everything. The team and everything like that. South End Zone Queen ain't gonna be as happy. Like, there's gonna be a lot of bad folks.
No, and then the ultimate high without the biggest high would be you win the Big 12. There is no spot for you in the playoff. You go win a badass major bowl game and get all that momentum coming back for next year, because that fellas will have a win over Michigan in the Rose Bowl field.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very 2004-ish.
Absolutely. That energy would start to come around if you're able to do that. And then, just like Anwar was saying, for a different reason, you'd say, well, there was no spot for us. We would have played. We'd love to play, but we just didn't have a spot at that point. And then that's a whole different type of energy. But yeah, these next couple weeks, fellas, we know weird stuff can happen, will happen. Championship games get forgotten about, and you get halfway through and you're like, wait, mid-third quarter, and what's the score? How does this change everything? It is fluid as it can be.
Well, and I think we'll wrap it up here onward. The whole reason why I think I brought it up was because the stakes are really high, and yet yesterday Sark was completely in a comfort zone, and it was he could have been antsy and testy and fidgety, and I want to get out of here, and I don't want to talk to you guys. And weirdly, as it gets the most pressurized, he seemed the most comfortable, and it just led me to thinking about, the stakes are really high. What happens if these things happen?
Ketch, I was going to just, before you go, just to build off of that, how things can get remembered. When we talk about the 2018 season and Texas finishing with 10 wins, you know what we talk about? We talk about Texas beating Georgia in that season. You know what we don't talk about? The loss to West Virginia that year. We don't talk about the loss to Oklahoma State that happened in that year. Like, those back-to-back losses put Texas at 6-3 on the outside looking in. We don't even really talk much about Texas losing in the Big 12 championship game, that year, because the Georgia thing happened, right? And because Georgia happened, everything else was like, Oklahoma State lost against them again. Like, that's okay. Like, West Virginia happened. Everyone looks at the big picture. You are right, though. The stakes are high for all the the reasons that you guys, we all know, right? And there's no reason for Texas not to complete the job. And I think Sark has outlined it and made it very clear. We talked about before the season. He said, I love this team, right? And he made it very clear. Like, he loved the team. He loved how it was constructed. And when you and I, we did shows about, hey, Sark's real confident about this team. He feels really good about them. He's got a quarterback that's playing he's got a quarterback that's playing good. He's got a decent, he's got all the components. And so really, to the best scenario, we would all agree on this, is beat Tech, beat whoever you play in the Big 12 championship game. Everybody's happy. Like, at that point, you can even lose in a bowl game and everybody will still be okay. No one will be like, oh, I can't believe that happened. That's what he needs. And yeah, he does feel confident. He seems really comfortable with it. It's a night game. Sark has really been beating the drum the past couple of weeks. I want the fans to come out. I want them to support. I want this to be a loud atmosphere and a loud environment. It's been very purposeful to acknowledge the fans that come on the road, but also the fans, like he wants that crazy environment at home. This might be the first time, and Chad, you would agree to this, might be the first time that Texas has played a game around Thanksgiving that I think the stadium will be packed. I remember us we've done shows. Ain't nobody been watching these post-game shows around Thanksgiving. It's just me and Ketch. Talking about 5 people, I think. We're just like, what did you guys think of the game versus, Kansas State or Kansas or whatever like that. And I think it's going to be packed. I got friends texting me, telling me they're coming in out of town, going to the game. And so the stakes are high, the expectations are high, but he seems to feel like he's wanting all that smoke. He's not shied away from it one time. I'll say this 30 seconds, I'll go. He's never shied away from the expectations of the season. He's never downplayed it, and he's always embraced that they're competing for a championship. Well, if the Kobe Bryant job's not finished thing applies, well, job's not finished. Let's see what happens.
Anwar, you got a predicted score out there?
I did 34-20 was my score, was my prediction. For this one, I think Texas Tech. I'm sure they'll have some sort of success because anybody who could throw the ball will seemingly have success at some point. But I'm giving them 20. But Ketch went 44-13. And if that happened, I wouldn't be surprised with that one either, just because of, they're a better team than Texas Tech. It's just a matter of, will Texas actually just assert itself and just, remind little brother that they're little brother. And if Joby McGuire decides to go for it 7 times on 4th down, will this defense be the one that gets to stop? I actually think it will.
Yeah, and even though I picked a blowout too, would we be surprised at all if it's 27-25? Like I wouldn't.
No, you're right.
Right? I don't think I'd be shocked at that one.
As long as Texas wins, yes, that would not be a shock as well. If you told me that Texas Texas Tech was ahead with like 2 minutes ago, I'd be like, oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if Texas can come and score a touchdown and win the game. But yes.
Yep.
Onwar, go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, my man. Enjoy your next couple of days as well.
I will. Pluckers messed up my order, so I went there. Ketch, you'll appreciate this story real quick. So you don't have anywhere to be. So you remember my first experience at Pluckers? The experience.
Was that the first experience?
What's one of them?
Okay, I do remember
the experience. So today I go there, right? I got my girl in from out of town, right? And so I was like, she's never in the Pluckers, right? And she's actually, we go sit in the bar area. That person is waiting on us, right? And I was like, same person. She's still there.
Wow.
Like
okay.
8 years later. So I didn't recognize her at first. Time has changed, age, whatever. And so I was like, I got a funny story to tell you. And I told her the story on how I got accused of ditching and dining. I got accused of ditching and dining at Pluckers, Chad, that when Ketch was there, and I literally, Ketch was leaving Pluckers, and we were standing outside the door, and I walked out with him. I left my laptop there. I left my computer bag there, and I still had some food there and my soda, and I was literally standing in front of the door talking to Ketch as he was leaving, and this person just comes out and she's like, "You didn't pay your bill." I'm like, "I know, I'm standing here talking to him." "Yeah, but you didn't pay." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going back inside. My computer's there. My laptop's there. Every time I'm walking back, like, it wasn't like she caught me in a parking lot.
Right.
I was literally standing in front of it.
Right.
And so anyway, and I was like, I can't. And I go back. I said, "Do you really think I would sacrifice like a $1,500 laptop for like a $20 bill? Like, what kind of exchange you think we're doing here? You know,
bad math."
And so then she felt a little bad with it. That person's waiting on us today. And I was like, oh man. So I'm on a time crunch because I gotta be here. And I ordered my appetizer. And then I ordered, I did a 5 and 5. And I was like, I can eat this real quick, and then I gotta run, So my girl, she's getting her 5 wings that she wants. I got the appetizer platter. She jacks up my order. She orders the wrong wings. And so now, by the time it takes for them to go redo my order and come back out with it, so then they come back and they have half my order correct, and then they hand me a bunch of other things that I didn't order. So now I'm like, I ain't order this. They're like, well, that's what the kitchen put in. I was like, I ain't order this. So then I just had to throw what I had. I was like, y'all take the bet. I had to throw what I had in a box and then leave. And I was like, it's the same person. So I think I'm done with Pluckers, man. I think I'm done with Pluckers. Y'all gonna have to win me over, because this is just. I try to be nice. I try to forgive, but you're gonna jack out my order. So now, when I thought I was gonna be eating at like 12:30, 12:40 or so, 12:45, I haven't, because they messed up my order twice. I have been unable to eat my food.
So it's still uneaten?
I have not, no, because as soon as I got back, because they messed up my order, so then I had to take it to go, and I got here, and so yeah, so I get accused of stealing, and
9
then I
years
can't get
ago.
my orders right. Thank you, Pluckers.
Damn.
I was so sick. I didn't even use that $5 off coupon. I was like, man, I don't need a discount here. I ain't coming back.
Oh my
You're gonna have to win me over. OnwareOrangeBuzz.com, Pluckers. That's all I'm telling you. Because right now, this is ridiculous. All right, now I've gone way over my time.
End scene.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, Anwar. Have a good one,
Don't
man.
eat your lunch. Heat that bad boy up. Try to enjoy it.
Give it a shot.
Pluckers
Give it a
Lake
chance.
man.
Anwar Richardson, orangebloods.com. Remember, Anwar, Ketch, Sukamel with the post-game show. I know a lot of you are checking that out. And hopefully for Texas, you're checking it out after 11-1 and a trip to the Big 12 title game. Texas will lock it in if they get it done on Saturday night. All right, we are over that 2 o'clock spot. We've got super chats lined up, ready to roll. Let's take care of a couple things here. We are giving thanks to all of our great sponsors these couple days. How about a little Hayes City store? You head out to Driftwood. Have you been out there lately? FM 150. Make your trip. Plan your journey. Maybe it's a Christmas gift for somebody. I'd love for somebody to give me a Christmas gift of a trip out to Hayes City store. Go try that incredible chicken fried steak we've been talking about. Go try all the great drinks. Go try maybe those truck stop enchiladas are more your speed. Maybe you love the pizza. Man, they do all kinds of great stuff. And I would tell you, look for the things on the menu that say bacon jam and just give it a shot. It is a unique taste, but it is fantastic as well. Hayes City Store. Shout out to Travis and Tamara and all the good folks out there. Double check with them on those holiday hours, but that's a great place to go hang out. Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is. Hayes City Store. All right. Ketch, where do we go after that? Where do we go after that? You want to hit some super chats? We have super chats and super stickers and all kinds of stuff.
Let's just knock the super chats out of the way.
We'll
so
do
we get
that.
caught up. And then
There
we'll
you
do
go.
crab bag it, or we got lots to squeeze in.
Yeah, 2:15. We'll hit Scottish guy coming up here. We got that coming up in a few minutes. This will probably take us up to that. Let's hit Oscar's super sticker, $4.99. Imagine it in your mind. Lemon character doing shoulder shimmy dance moves. Okay. Nice. I like it. Also earlier, Robert with a $1.99 super chat, incoming creepy monkey Hastings chats. Now, I don't think my daughter is going to be involved in the chat anytime soon.
My daughter's a trendsetter.
Anytime soon. Ketch's daughter was in the chat a little earlier on. I don't think mine are, mine's gonna be doing that.
It feels, by the way, it feels different now that I know I was paying.
Yeah, right. It's a little different now. Those super chats are coming in. It was technically your money. Super chat from Jay. Tech and Oklahoma State are incredibly similar teams. I think Oklahoma State's got a little more substance than Tech does. They feel more versatile to me, a little more than what Tech has got this year. It's not quite the same for me. What do you think, Ketch?
I get what he's saying. I mean, they both are getting by on the large shoulders of their star running back.
Right. Gordon
both
versus Boyd, yep.
Have backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's true.
They both, I think, have embarrassing losses.
Yeah.
The difference is one team has put together a consistent dose of football this season that lasted about 6 weeks, and the other one's Tech.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the frame of the team, I get where he's coming from for sure.
Yeah. We appreciate that super chat, Jay. This one comes in from Andrew, super chat 1111. I like that. Everyone wish for horns in the CFP. Also, happy Thanksgiving, Ketch, Chad, and all of OB Nation. Hook 'em. I'm assuming it's 11-11 because this would be a Texas's 11th win. Nice job, Andrew. It would be 11-1 if they get it done this week. We got another super chat, $5 coming in. Jay Harv, buy or sell. The committee will compare Oregon's win against Tech to Texas's win against Tech if we sell. Too long ago. You just need to hope they remember you beat Alabama. We're not guaranteed they will.
I mean, they don't care about that.
I know they don't care about that one. They do. There's no way. I don't think they're really going to get into that. So no, I don't think that matters. Just beat. If it comes down to it, just beat Tech. You shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. $5 super chat from Tom G. Buy or sell. Joey Boy will go for it on 4th down at least 6 times this week. Joey McGuire 6 times on 4th down. I'll sell that. I will say he won't go for it 6 times.
I'm going to sell that because part of being able to go for it 6 times is that you got it successfully. You know what I mean? Like there's probably, there were probably a couple of drives last year where they got it twice in a drive. They were going for it. I think this year they don't get it, which makes it maybe next to mathematically impossible to get to 6. So
yeah,
I'm going to say sell. But look, I think Joey's going to throw caution to the wind. I think we're going to see flea flickers and onside kicks and going for it on 4th down. I think he will be aggressive in this game and got no problem with that.
Yeah. Thank you for that super chat, Tom. Happy Thanksgiving. Texas boy, $1.99. You give it to him for winning and the recruiting. This would be back to the extension discussion for Sark. Winning and the recruiting. Right, but the winning part is what we were talking about earlier. What did he win? Did he win the biggest one? What if he slips and goes 10-2? Or what if he slips in the Big 12 title game? Do you give it to him then? Or do you give it to him anyway?
I think it's interesting that you go to, so in 2018, they lose the Big 12 title game to Oklahoma, but because they, as Anwar pointed out, they beat Georgia. That's the thing that people remember about in 2018 is the final thing.
Yep.
And yet I think back to 1996, they lost 5 games. They lost to Notre Dame at home. Oh, that was a heartbreaker. I mean, everybody remembers the Bryant Westbrook hit from that day, but they lost that game. Then they lost to Virginia by 4 scores. That was ugly. Then they lost in overtime to Oklahoma. Then they lost to Colorado on the road. They lost 4 out of 5. But then they beat Nebraska in the Big 12 championship game. And nobody ever brings up that they lost by 4 scores to Penn State. And so I think what that shows, because it's 2 different seasons with 2 different sets of accomplishments and 2 different ways to look at it, I think if they win the Big 12 championship, even if they were to get their doors blown off in the bowl game, look, when we talk to Brian Jones, we still talk about 1990 as like a super memorable season 33 years later, even though they got worked by Miami in the bowl game. If you win a conference championship, it makes everything that happens afterwards a little bit forgettable if you need it to be. But if you win the big bowl game, and it's a big one, then you can forget all of this. It's a great fan way of looking at it, right? What makes me happiest? And that's what I'm going to go with. If they can win against Tech and then win the Big 12 championship game, everybody's going to remember this for all time. If they lose the Big 12 championship and there was a chance to get into the playoff like there was in 2001, the month of December, this month of December, next month, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, no, it's coming. That would be crazy. Texas boy, we thank you for that super chat. We have a couple other super chats lined up here. Steven and Jay, we see them. Also, speaking of Brian Jones, we've sent the link. We are hoping Brian Jones of CBS Sports joins us coming up. We will cross our fingers here, maybe right after Scottish Guy, hopefully. But there is one of those this week. Texas is about to play Texas Tech for the last time. Here are the thoughts of the Scottish Guy. You've been warned.
They are Austin. They are HVAC. They are McCulla Heating and Air Conditioning. 518-0119 or coolmenow.com. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore. I want them to turn black. Black, as in darkness, as in nothingness, as in absence of light, as in no chance you ever get to see the light again. Attention, fans of the red and black. This is it. As you well know but can't accept, Texas is done with you. Get all those upside-down horns out of your system on Friday. After that, you'll have to look stupid doing it on TV while you play Arizona and UCF in half-empty stadiums. Even if the SEC lets the Horns have 4 non-cons, the chance of CDC calling you is about the same as him calling Brett Yormark and inviting him over for turkey. Which brings us to that. Hey, Beaker, how's that hating on Texas and Oklahoma and hoping the rest of the conference beats them working out for you? Not good? What a shame. I mean, I know Oklahoma State wet the bed with South Alabama and UCF by a combined 78-10, I might add. That's not a joke, by the way, just math. Look it up. And they might represent your conference in the title game. But at least the team you were counting on to beat Texas and keep them out of the game is awesome, right? Right? Wait, no, that team lost to Wyoming, West Virginia, and BYU, and they've been bowl eligible for about 10 minutes. Bottom line, Joey, your team, your commish, and you have written checks you just can't cash. Nothing runs through Lubbock but high winds and inferiority complexes. You can't even be the little brother. You're not at the card table with the cousins nobody likes. You're down the street at the bar ordering a drink that will not make it better. The Longhorns would rather deal with a family-sized helping of yell practices, lowercase letters, and 4-star generals dressed as collies than have to deal with your tortilla-throwing, cheap-shot, half-ass West Texas garbage for one more game. Make a New Year's 6 and you might be worthy. Until then, this one's gonna hurt. And hurt a lot. And hurt forever. UT62, the last Southwest memory on the list. 3. This is SG. BYE.
All right, there you have it. If you missed it, you can just go back and check it out once the show is posted, or it's going to be a part of the watch along. We'll get you heated up for Texas and Texas Tech.
Was that an actual tortilla on the record player?
I think it was. That's
where did that? What? How? What?
I don't know how you. That's good. All credit to the production team and Blake, the super producer, for digging that one up, because I don't know why anyone would put a tortilla on a record player. But
it was perfect.
It really was.
But it really just, I thought about it the entire time right up until 62-3, I was like, was that a tortilla on a record player?
Yeah, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. We'll see if any tech people try to bring those tortillas in for Friday night. 6:30 kick, 6:15. We'll crank open the watch along. Brought to you by the good folks at Pine House. Shout out to Pine House Pizza and the Pine House Brewery, and they are another one of our great partners around here. Shout out to Specs for helping with the chat. And there are a lot of good folks in the Specs chat today, up over 400. We're crossing our fingers for Brian Jones. As we do that, there are super chats that are waiting for us. Let's see, where did we leave off? Right here, Catch a bowl question from Steven, $5. Not trying to be negative, but should Texas be left out, which is the team that will probably be facing in a bowl game? Alabama? Question mark. I hadn't really thought about that one. If they get left out, who's the bowl matchup for Texas?
I mean, they're going to Oregon, maybe.
I was just thinking if Oregon slipped too and they slipped out, would that be a matchup?
Could be.
Couldn't that be? Are those still the two schools at the Alamo Bowl? Because
I think they're both going to be in the majors.
You'd be in a New Year's Six, though, right? They could probably match them up. Is there a big that's what I don't.
I actually checked last week if there were any tie-ins for the Cotton Bowl. It is at large versus at large, so they could play anybody at the Cotton Bowl.
They could do that. Okay, that'd be a nice one for that one. Honestly, get them in a weather-controlled environment. Let Ewers and Knicks go after it.
It's not going to be Alabama. They're just not going to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's Bama. I think more of the Oregon, or like if Oregon, would you go 2 years in a row of Washington? Oregon jumps to mind though.
I thought Washington as well. If they don't make it, maybe like an Ole Miss or, I'm trying to think. The thing is, once you get past, if you look at the top 8, 4 aren't going to make it, right?
Sure.
So,
yeah. Well, what about the Michigan-Ohio State loser?
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't know if they fall past that or what. Louisville? You would maybe hope for a team better than Louisville, although Louisville
doesn't move the needle at all.
No, that's true. You would need a little more of that. Last projection I saw was Missouri. Missouri's a team.
Ryan Wingo Bowl.
Exactly. That could be it. That's an interesting question. All right.
I think it would either be the best bowl possible would be loser of the Big Ten or loser of the Pac-12, right?
That sounds about right because that would still have a good name to it.
Loser of the ACC doesn't, unless Florida State lost.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have Travis. I think the Pac-12 or Big Ten idea is good.
Yep,
one of those two makes sense. $5 super chat from Jay. Do we know this team is better than 2018? That team had 2 fluke losses to Oak State, West Virginia, back-to-back. Offense averaged 41 points a game. Do we know this team is better than 2018? They feel better than 2018 to me.
It is better than it's. You know how I know? In part, there's a hell of a lot more NFL players that are going to be coming off of this team than that team.
Right. And you also, Ketch, talked about the things that don't get remembered about that team. Nobody ever remembers the fact that they technically slotted up to that Sugar Bowl because Oklahoma took the spot in the playoff. Otherwise, Texas would have slotted below that Sugar Bowl and not even played in it. Everybody just remembers they beat Georgia in a Sugar Bowl, but technically it wasn't the Sugar Bowl that they were entitled to, if that makes any sense. Nobody remembers.
Yes, I think we know.
Yeah.
And I would say this, those weren't fluke losses. I mean, they just weren't.
That's
Texas
fair.
hasn't had fluke losses in the last 13 years. I mean, you have to be really, really good to have a fluke loss. How do we know this season team doesn't have a loss?
Right.
You might point to because they've won all of the rest of their games. You could say that Oklahoma was a fluke loss, but that 2005 team or the 2018 team, they sometimes being upset doesn't mean it's a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, Texas was better than Texas Tech, but they lost, and it wasn't a fluke. What registers as a fluke? What's the mathematical probability that makes something a fluke?
Yeah, fluke loss to me. It's got to be
1 out of
really
10?
Yeah, I mean it's got to be a really close. It's got to be a close loss, but it's a game that you were winning and you had it, and then I mean, fluke to me sounds like the other team got lucky and things like that. The word fluke to me sounds like there's something.
Well, like if I say a team's going to beat another team 7 out of 10 times if they played 10 times, are the other 3 games flukes?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do we get to where something's a fluke if we think there's a reasonable chance that it can happen?
Yeah, about there, I guess. About 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, somewhere in there. On the other,
I don't know. Like I genuinely
side.
don't know the answer. It's something I've never really thought about until just this very moment.
I know. I haven't either. I never thought of it in those kind of terms. Up over 400 folks in the Specs chat. We appreciate you. There are more super chats rolling. We are also thanking our sponsors one more time before Thanksgiving. Big thanks to Sinus and Snoring Specialist. They help me out. They can help you out. My wife is enjoying her CPAP and sleeping like a baby and not getting up during the night. And she didn't have to take that big old nap she always takes after that camping trip. Sinus and Snoring Specialist can help you out. Make it the gift for yourself this holiday season, because if you're not sleeping well, the rest of it just gets affected by that. So there's your QR code. They're right over there in the Palmer Mopac area, and they do incredible work with ear, nose, and throat. Whatever the deal is, they can find out what you're allergic to, get rid of your allergies for good. That's really big, especially this time of year when you got the warm weather and the cold weather all coming together. Can really mess with you. Don't let it mess with you anymore. Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Shout out to Dr. Slaughter and the crew over there at Sinus and Snoring. No Brian Jones yet. We sent the link. He's a busy man at CBS. Looks like we may not get Brian, but you never know. You never know. If we see him, we'll try to get a prediction. We'll try to creep in there. But we do have some super chats, and we thank you for that. Yeah.
We'll go to the super chats.
Yes, sir.
The definition of fluke is, according to the Oxford Dictionary.
Yes.
You specifically wondering.
Mm-hmm.
An unlikely chance occurrence, especially a surprising piece of luck. So, here's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, that's my interpretation. Luck has to be involved.
So, the Leon Lett Cowboys-Dolphins game, is that a fluke?
Yes.
Even though it was a close game, it's
a fluky play. Yeah, a fluky play, a silly play, unexpected play. It's just not a normal kind of situation. Yeah, the famous Herm Edwards, Joe Pisarcik, that's a fluke. That's a fluke.
But if those two teams played 10 times and one team wins 6 and the other one wins 4, and one of the 4 includes a fluky play, is it still a fluke win?
The one of them would be, one can be fluky, but I think just the pure numbers, the 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, I don't know that makes it a fluke. Fluke has to involve some luck.
So the fluke is completely almost connected. Villanova, Georgetown.
No. That wasn't a fluke. Villanova shot the lights out that night and whipped them.
Okay.
They dominated that game.
Just trying to figure it out. By the way, Brian's going to do this, I think, walking in a hallway.
Oh, this is so exciting. Is this Brian Jones, CBS, in a suit in the building doing this for us? Let's get to it. Brian Jones, CBS Sports. What's up, Sharp Dress Man?
My men, what is happening? Happy Thanksgiving.
He's in the Mike Leach shed.
Happy Thanksgiving. Are you in Lubbock? Are you back in Lubbock area in somebody's shed?
I have found me a little cubby hole here at work, man, in this vast CBS Sports Broadcasting Center. We've been on the set taping some stuff, and now I got to sit for 4 hours and wait on these dang CFP rankings.
Oh, man. Well, we're glad you took the time. We appreciate it. Give us your thoughts on your Longhorns trying to go to 11-1 and get rid of those Red Raiders one more time. What's your confidence level?
Well, listen, I loved it. It was an excellent ball game. There were some nip and tuck moments, but they played championship football. Obviously, you guys know they had 2 scores taken off the board, or it would have been 40-16. So I thought they did what they needed to do, especially defensively. T'Vondre Sweat had another All-American game, and he shut up old left guard, whatever that guy's name, Gerard Suford or whatever. He didn't have a damn thing to say. He did exactly what they needed to do to shut him up. Was it 9 yards rushing? That's not enough dirt to fill a flower pot. So kudos to that defense. And my man Jalen Ford had one hell of a stick on that short yardage play. That's the way you formed them up. Last week I was telling you too much diving. He formed old boy up. He wasn't diving at no legs and ankles on that play. So they still not playing perfectly, but you get the job done. And they should have boat raced Iowa State, but they get out of there with a good win. May not be recognized nationally, and I apologize for all the noise. They're moving sets and things.
Oh, you're good?
You're good, man.
Hey, shut up! I'm working over here.
Oh,
This is
they're going to come knock that phone out of your hand.
wait, you hear what they said?
Huh.
Because they used to me yelling. They said, I didn't know Texas was on. They are used to my histrionics here at the studio, man. But great win. Everyone was a little nervous considering the history of Texas going into Ames. So they did what they needed to do. And I mean, just say this to all the naysayers and my boy Kevin Carter as well, my colleague here, the Florida Gator, whose Gators stank. They couldn't stop a nosebleed with a bag of ice on defense. They're giving up like 1,200 yards the last two games. But let me just say this to all these folks with these if scenarios. Oh, if Texas played Bama now, Bama would beat them. If Texas did this, if Bama did that, Bama should. Kiss my grits. Texas played Bama in their fucking backyard and beat them by double digits. So kiss my ass, okay? Because all I heard from Texas fans, some Texas fans, 2009 national title game, oh, if Colt hadn't gotten hurt. Last year, oh, if Ewers hadn't gotten hurt. What did they say? Well, it's too bad. You still lost the game. So I don't want to hear all these machinations about if and this and that. Kiss my ass. If it was a fit, we'd all be drunk. They had a chance to win the game on the second week of the season in their damn home stadium, and they couldn't get it done. Kudos to Texas for getting it done. So, yeah. I got some other choice words, but a young lady just walked up. What's that?
I think that's the best point you've ever made about anything.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
I don't either. But it might be true because you're
it might be true. You're right. I'm just so sick of this narrative, though. You know, I don't care about what's going on there. Great. But Texas may not be blowing the doors off everyone. They have early, as we've discussed. They passed the eye test early, then they allow teams to get back in the ball game. But that's because of their own mistakes. But they're winning. They are winning. And the last time I checked, if it's 1-0 or 40-0, it's a dub. So kudos to them to continue to win, and different guys are getting it done. Jay Witt hadn't had a touchdown all season. This guy shows up, 3 huge plays. Big catch over the middle that he turns into a chunk play. Of course, the touchdown play beautifully sold it like as if he was blocking, and they know he likes to block, and he's damn good at it. And then the 2-point play. Coach Neuheisel was just talking about how brilliant that play was. It looks as though it was going to be a stretch zone, and they flip it to the jet sweep guy. So Texas is doing what they need to do, controlling what they need to control, which is getting W's. And let me just say this, because we just talked about this on our show. Texas Tech, you ain't no damn rival. What? Why? Where do people get this notion that Texas Tech is a rival? They ain't no freaking rival. You're a nuisance. That's what you are.
Well said.
Chad.
Yeah, well said.
I feel like you dropped like 5 microphones. I don't quite know where to go.
Absolutely well said. Brian, here's where I'll go. You know, based on that national landscape, let's say Texas handles their business. They get this win. They're going to the Big 12 title game, and let's assume that they also handle that business. Where do you think their slot could be? What is it that you think they need? Are you leaning at the Gators over Florida State? Are you leaning more for Washington to get a loss? What do you think is the most likely way that Texas could find a spot in the 4 if they're that good?
This may shock you guys. I'm not leaning either way. I just want Texas to continue to handle their business. It's been so long over a decade since we've been in this position, right? I just want to enjoy this. And this is the first step in this process, man. They got the guys on campus. They're playing conference championship football. As I told you a couple weeks ago, I don't believe they're at that CFP level just yet. They could fool me, but I just don't think they have as much depth as you need right now. And they're going to continue to amass that depth. So I just want to enjoy this. I want them to kick Tech's ass. I want them to kick whoever they play in the Big 12 championship ass and let the chips fall where they may. I'm happy my alma mater is back on top and they're in the national conversation. That's all that matters to me. I have no lofty expectations for this team other than winning the Big 12, and they're right in line to do that. So I'm not thinking down the road, guys. I'm just going to enjoy this. It's been too damn long. Why do that? I'm not. That exercise. It could be rough. it could be painful. So yeah. I am not going down that road. Just hook them and keep playing your butts off and get that first goal, which is a conference championship.
All right.
Brian, my last UT question for you, and then we might talk a little bit about what's on CBS this weekend, some big SEC games. We've asked this question a few times, and I'm curious from your perspective. Is Steve Sarkisian in year 3, the totality of what he's doing, is he meeting or surpassing expectations?
Meeting. This is where we should be. He's meeting expectations, and he knew that. So realistic, this is year 2, right? When did he come in?
Year 3.
21.
Year 3, but he came in 2021. That's right. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. My hand getting tied over here. I'll have to switch like I used to do when I was a kid. I'm joking.
Oh, Brian Jones as the stranger from CBS.
See what this suit does? It just brings out the worst in me, man. Get my juices flowing. This is our locker room, our playing field, the only one we have left, and so it all comes out. Anyway, it's right in line where I thought it should be. You know, at first year, definitely not his team. Was able to hold on to some of the recruits last year. Baby steps towards respectability. And now, this is exactly where I thought they should be with all the pieces they had returning, and as well as they have recruited. This is where they should be. So I am more than pleased, as I'm sure most Texas fans are. Still hate the fact that they lost to the Sooners. Would love for the Sooners to get back in this thing, and they could. We'll see what happens with Okie State, and if they can lose. I guess Iowa State would Iowa State have to lose again? I believe so.
No, Iowa State would need Iowa State's playing K-State. They would be out of that. If Oklahoma State loses and Oklahoma wins, OU would be in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for. But hey, Texas shouldn't have lost that game. They played one of their worst games of the year, and lost. So it is what it is. But yeah, this is where Sark should be, man.
So, Brian, really exciting weekend for you guys with CBS. You got 2 games Friday and 1 on Saturday, and you're starting people off slow. I like this for a holiday weekend. You're starting with Iowa and Nebraska, the Under Bowl. That's exciting. I don't know if you've seen the latest, but the under has been set at
it's like watching old people, you know what?
Exactly. You're starting with that one. You got Missouri and Arkansas as well, and then you've got the Iron Bowl on Saturday. Once Iowa and Nebraska are done, there's some football to be played.
Well, I'm surprised that Arkansas got thrashed by Auburn. And how about Auburn following the New Mexico State? Way to go, Aggies. I watched that tape. And they say in the SEC, it just means more. Well, it apparently means more at New Mexico State and the job Jerry Kill is doing there. That was awful watching that tape, man. And they had 213 yards of offense versus New Mexico State. Can you imagine what Bama's going to do to Auburn? Now, Auburn juices will be flowing more. It's a rivalry game. They will show up for this one. They obviously didn't show up last week. And you don't have to know much about your opponent. You don't even have to like your opponent, but you damn well better respect them. And that's what Auburn did not do. But, yeah, Iowa and Nebraska. Nebraska's still trying to get that 6th win to be bowl eligible. So going up against a heck of a defense. I think the top 4 defense, the scoring defense in the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa. So Iowa plays great defense. It's going to be tough for that Nebraska offense. Missouri, Arkansas, as I said, Arkansas getting just trounced by Auburn. They won last week, and that Auburn game was perplexing because they had just come off the win in the Swamp, and while Florida's not that great, still, first time they had won in the Swamp. I think they'll be invigorated considering their coach, Sam Pittman, got that vote of confidence. He's coming back next year, but this Missouri team is damn good. They did it again. That game-winning field goal by the thicker kicker, Mevis, from Missouri last week. And Schrader over 100 again. They can run that rock. Cook can run it, quarterback. So it should be a fun ball game to end our doubleheader Friday. And then the Iron Bowl. I think it's going to be all Bama. Auburn will show up, but to no avail.
Yeah, I do too.
Brian, my last question. It's disappointing to not see the lovely Mrs. photos multiple behind you. So we know I think we know she's
all you got is
there.
Tim. Say hi, Tim.
It looks like we got a scene from Die Hard up there behind you.
The Nakatomi building. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting in one of the. This is how do you switch this thing? I don't know how to work this technology, but this is one of the. This is where the researchers hang out here.
Okay.
And
Nice.
and I'll go our studio.
Only the best for the researchers.
No set. No set. Ah, well, we got nice.
Okay,
Nice,
looks better now.
This is a studio where we are on Saturdays. They just did that Slime Time show with Nate Burleson and that young man. Hey man, thanks for not wearing that Boston hat today. Oh, man. Appreciate that. And this is where NFL Today takes place as well. What's up, man? Yeah, that's how we do it.
Brian, I was just going to ask, are you going to be able to be in a position to have Thanksgiving on Thursday with your lovely bride?
No, she's heading home to be with her family in Kansas City tomorrow. I'm flying home in the morning, so I'll see her off. And then I head back up here Thursday afternoon. So I've got my – hold on. Damn it, don't y'all see I'm talking? You always know what the fudge? Who do I talk to around here to get some silence?
Oh my God.
Wait. You guys say this for my
Oh no.
boys. How I say it? Do I have to I sound on Saturdays watching Texas? Call it one way.
We're freezing up. We're freezing up at the CBS studios.
But what a freeze.
It's a great freeze. Brian, you still here? Oh, there you
There you go. Oh, no. There
All
we
right.
go. Ordered my fried turkey and my dressing and my giblet gravy and my sweet potato casserole. I'm going to bring some of that up here with me. I'm going to sit in the hotel, watch ball, and rub my gut.
Brian, real quick, we got a super chat on the way out. Somebody wants your game prediction and your favorite Thanksgiving dish.
Game prediction for Tech?
Yes.
Man, they can run that rock. They had 194 last week, and I'm glad Texas is number one in the Big 12 against the rush. And I believe we're still number one in third down conversions. So they got to stop the rock. That's number one. And I think Texas wins this ball game. You know, what did Tupac say? Revenge is the sweetest thing next to.
The perfect freeze. Oh my God.
Tupac. What?
Don't worry about it. What's your dish?
You looked it up that quick? Dang.
That's funny.
Yep.
You had the perfect freeze there. It was perfect. What's the dish?
Which one?
Your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Oh, dressing and giblet gravy. With the jelly cranberry, that ocean spray jelly cranberry. Don't be bringing that real cranberry sauce in my house. I want that jelly cranberry, my dressing, and giblet gravy, baby. I'll eat it all week. I love it. Oh.
It's got to be the shape of that can, huh?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Brian's like, don't bring me that natural looking stuff. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Gotta have the indentations from the can. Exactly. Love
that's
it.
the thing. You cranberry can people, you're just like a dog. You wait for that sound when it sucks out of the can. That's how you know it's time to eat. That's how you know.
I ain't touching it, man. I had a former girlfriend. We got into it. She made me Thanksgiving. I said, "Where my cranberry sauce?" She forgot the cranberry sauce. We had to walk. It was here in the city. We had to walk a couple blocks, man. I had to get my cranberry sauce. I can't eat that without a cranberry sauce.
That is funny.
No,
Brian
what was the
Jones-
next question, Ketch?
No, you're good.
No,
That's it.
We got the prediction. We got your favorite dish. We appreciate the time, man. Best of luck with all the stuff. I know you guys got some more
Right.
work to do. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll hit you next week, and we'll talk about some crazy championship action.
I should have sat over here. I'm more high yellow on this side, huh? I look African over there. There you go with them Africans again, Chad.
What? I didn't do anything.
You
man.
made me do it like you used to do when I worked with you.
That's you. That
You
is
made
on
him
you.
do it.
That's the man bringing me down.
Dude,
Chad, that's exactly what people have been thinking for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That Chad Hastings makes Brian Jones do everything.
Don't you put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Hook 'em.
Later, BJ.
Brian Jones. Look at Brian Jones making time, walking around the bowels of CBS Sports today. Fantastic. And he thinks Texas is going to get after Texas Tech. Ketch, we are saying thanks to our great partners and sponsors these couple days here. Tell them about My Perfect Franchise, because somebody might be sitting around Thanksgiving week, thinking about what the next thing is.
You're dropping this on me now. My Perfect Franchise. Let me see if I can just get it started. Brian just has me dumbfounded. Chad said it. When the holidays are over with and you get close to New Year's, you start thinking about New Year's resolutions and you're like, you know what? One of my New Year's resolutions, I want to make the dream come true. I want to do that thing that I've thought about doing my entire life, and I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to do it. It's the dream. Andy makes dreams come true. MyPerfectFranchise.net can make dreams come true. Their whole thing is to help you get started and pave the path to becoming the business person, the LLC owner, the dream maker, all the things that you want to do for a living that you just haven't started yet. Andy Ledecky is going to help you with that. The info to contact him is right on the screen, Andy@MyPerfectFranchise.net, or the phone number 404-973-9901. Either way, call him up. He's not going to charge you for it. He's going to listen to you. The whole thing begins with your idea, your dream, how you guys can start working towards building that. And I'm just letting you know, it is one of the best gifts that can be given, and let Andy help give it to you. My Perfect Franchise. Call him up.
Ketch, I'm sorry I sprung it on you, but I knew you could handle it.
Well, I know, but that was the most Brian Jones segment that we've had so far this year.
It was fantastic. Didn't even need to ask for the swearing in the middle. It was great. It was well done. I mean, it was well done. As are all the super chats today. We appreciate all of you. Two more here that I see to clear off. Let's grab them real quick. Mark, $5 says, Ketch, Chad, Blake, we appreciate y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. Hook 'em. Texas 48-17. I like that sound. Going to be a beatdown like Brackens versus their punter.
I was about 15 yards away from when that hit took place.
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Before you and I worked together, Ketch, and I was doing the show, it would have been ultimately the show with Brian and Kevin Dunn. I ended up getting a contact at Fox Sports that was his wife, the punter's wife.
Oh, wow.
We were talking one day, and I can't remember how it came up, and all of a sudden I went, whoa, stop. You're married to that guy? And she goes, yeah. And I said, how often does he talk about Tony Brackens? And she said, not often. Not often.
So wait a minute. You've met the significant other of the Tech punter and the TCU receiver?
That never met. No. I never met her. We just talked on the phone. And then I never met the guy. I just knew a girl that was dating him for a while.
The Quentin Coriat hit.
The Quentin Coriat guy, correct.
You have a weird way of running into infamously brutalized, beaten people.
Exactly. I got two of the weirdest connections to two of the best hits like ever.
Yeah, no.
In college football. You're right.
You're gonna be like, just saying, I can't wait for like a month or two from now when you're like, guess who I ran into that I have a friend that's dating Randy Kinder. Like, it's amazing.
Right. Hey, Ketch, I met Randy Kinder's plumber. What? What did you say? What are you talking about? All right, one more super chat from Chris, $5. What up, fellas? Been waiting for 14 years. I hope Mr. Brett is at DKR Friday after we beat that ass. I hope the fans boo the hell out of him. Hook him. He is supposed to be there, Chris. If you missed that, Sark said it yesterday at the presser that Yormark told him in Ames that he's going to be in Austin for that game. So, and we know he's going to be there at Jerry World. Ketch, the dream that everybody wanted is really just BYU is the one that can really help the dream come true for a lot of fans, because a lot of fans want Texas and Oklahoma to face each other to where Yormark has to hand the trophy to one of the two. And that would just be BYU beats Oklahoma State, Texas and OU both win. They would play each other. The other version would be Gundy meets Sark, and then Yormark, we know who he'd be rooting for during the game, and Texas fans would get to hope for he has to hand it to Sark, knowing that Oklahoma State's in the building, and he would have to give the trophy to Sark and give the WWE belt to some Texas player. That could happen. Don't forget that.
Don't boo Yormark. Just give him the Byron Murphy wave.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
100,000 people waving, I think, says a lot more than booing. Booing makes it sound, and I know he has gotten under the skin, but booing makes it sound like, he's a little bit in your brain, whereas waving goodbye is about the coldest things that can happen.
No, it'd be incredible. That would be a good wave. Before we wrap up, let's also give a shout out to the good folks out at Deep Eddy Vodka, deepeddyvodka.com. You might need a little bit during the holidays because, sometimes the family's a little crazy. I did a little orange Deep Eddy Vodka last night with some sparkling water. I put a little vanilla in there. It was so good. Love those different flavors. There's 8 different flavors of Deep Eddy Vodka. You can get them with the Specs app. You can get them at your local Specs, or make your plans to head out to Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. The barbecue out there is so good. They've got the Crimson Creek Smokehouse right there on site. I was so excited to see that they'd had it out there. But, man, that quality of barbecue, that raises it to another level. Everything is high quality for them out at Deep Eddy. They're about having a great time. They want you to come out there and have a good time with them. So get out there. Try the flight of vodka if you want. Try the different flavors that way, or have some of those great cocktails. Remember, ask them to make you a dreamsicle. It's one of my favorites, that orange Deep Eddy vodka with cream soda. It will change your life. It'll remind you of being a kid and having those dreamsicle ice cream sandwiches or ice cream popsicles, whatever we used to have. Yeah, it's good stuff. Deep Eddy Vodka. There's your QR code. Check them out at the tasting room. Ketch, I will give you a choice here at the end of the show. If you're ready, we can go ahead and go. But I did do the research around the tweet that the Aggie football team put out last Saturday. I can save it and we can get to it another time, but I don't want the people to think I'm running from it. So you tell me, do you want to hear just how much A&M's running the state or not? Up to you.
You've done the work.
Okay.
Give me your crap bag.
Okay. So to be fair I want to be fair to my people. The Aggie football Twitter tweeted out, quote, improved to 17-0 against in-state schools since 2012. I double-checked the numbers, and they are not wrong, Ketch. So let's just take a look at what my Aggies have been doing. Ketch, they beat an ACU team that is now 5-6. Are they bowl eligible? Hell no, they're not. They beat a Texas State team back in the day that finished 3-9. They beat 2 UTSA teams. Good ones? Nope. Both of them are losing teams. They beat 2 Prairie View A&M teams. Were they losers? No. Both of them won 7 games each. Count them, 7. They beat 2 Lamar teams that had a combined record of 12-12. That's not a losing record. They beat a UTEP team that finished 2-10. That's 2 wins, 2 complete wins. They beat 2 Rice teams, Ketch, that combined for 18 wins. Now that's something to brag about, but we're not done. They beat 3, not 2, 3 Sam Houston State teams that all had a winning record and all were in the FCS. Yeah. And finally, they beat 3 SMU teams that combined for a 13-24 record. Yeah. Is that what you wanted, Aggie football? That's what you wanted to brag about? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the best part. Ketch, out of 17 games, guess how many were on the road?
None?
2.
Okay.
2. That's right. Twice my Aggies packed their shit. They packed those maroon helmets and they went to Dallas twice. Once with Johnny Manziel, and they beat SMU twice. And then they beat 15 other teams from the state of Texas. What, Lone Star State? What are you going to say? 17-0 since 2012. Yeah. What the fuck, man? That's just, it's so stupid. It's so beyond stupid. I don't even know what to do with it. But I decided to dig in and look it up and just give y'all. Is that what you want? Is that what you want, A&M football? And Ketch, that was the 3rd tweet. They tweeted something about Moose Muhammad and a random number. No problem. Tweeted about not giving up 100 yards. No problem. And then somebody actually thought to hit send on that crap. Unbelievable. Do you want to know why the Aggie jokes exist? Because in a lot of cases, you write them. All right, I'm done.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. For more
Happy
Sports
Thanksgiving.
Live, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, get notifications. We'll see you on Friday for the watch along.